is up, everybody? Welcome back to the final day this week of the RSL. We're going to be going into Group D.
Yeah, Group D, wrapping up the round of 16 here, and Tasteless. It is a pretty star-studded group. Some of the best Protoss and Zerg players in the world. We're going to be starting off with Reynor versus Scarlett for the first series, and ShoWTimE versus Classic. So
yeah,
we got World Champions, we got GSL Champions, we got Legends of the game. I am so eager to get into this one. It's going to be a very fun day.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Very cool to have Scarlett playing here in our event. I'm curious what kind of condition she's going to be in. She will be going up against Reynor, who's been looking extremely strong.
Yeah. Reynor is looking like his old self again, you know? He's getting back into form, he's getting ready for EWC, and he's looking like he wants to make a run at that title, so I think he's probably going to be one of the favorites to advance in this group, but it is frankly just so stacked. It's hard to say who's going to make it.
We are sponsored by Archon Studio for the Season 1 of RSL, guys. Check out the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game they're making. It's going to be available for pre-order later this year. Because of their support, we were able to double the prize pool. So we really appreciate them. They've got a lot of really cool products, even beyond the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game. So definitely go to their site, check them out.
And of course, if you want to be a part of supporting the RSL, you can contribute on Patreon. We got all sorts of perks and tiers available for you there. And really, every contribution goes a long way to making this possible. If it wasn't for the support of the community, we wouldn't be here right now putting this on.
Yeah, I mean, StarCraft's been in a very weird spot lately. We obviously had like 10 months off where there was basically no major competitions. And while that was going on, we basically thought, you know what, why don't we just make our own tournament? You know, I've been casting for other people's tournaments for a long time. We can just produce our own. We can use the community funding to build a set, to get producers, to get observers, and we wanted to have something that would let StarCraft II live on in the future, that would feel refined and professional and kind of a show experience. So consider signing up. I know that it's at $5, $25, $100 tiers. There's a bunch of tiers in between. Whatever you think you can do to support, we really appreciate it. And if you're a member of our Patreon, you get a 20% discount on all RSL and Tasteless TV merch. That's on my merch site, tastelessthreads.com. Of course, you can buy that merch without having the Patreon tier as well, but check them out. We got a lot of cool stuff on there.
Yeah, some real cool stuff.
Yeah.
You know it's quality, too, because I see Tasteless wearing it literally all the time out here, even when we have no casts.
I actually had I had this Tastosis shirt on my site, and like I wore it out one time, and I was meeting my friend at a bar, and the lady at the bar went, "Is that you on your shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is. It's my merch."
She's like, "Wow, you nerd."
She goes, "You wear your own merch," and walked away.
Dude, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're
guys,
gonna have a week off after this.
Yeah.
So the Home Story Cup's coming up. We had to like squeeze all these days in on any day that was free, basically. So we're gonna be going through this RSL pretty quickly once we get through the 10 days that we have off, or 10 or so days that we have off here. So be sure to join us. That's gonna be starting on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And guys, I think our first game might already be loading up. Wow, we are moving at lightning speed here to kick off Group D in the RSL. And spawning down here in the bottom left, the red Zerg player, it is Scarlett.
Yeah, Scarlett spawning down here in the bottom. Reynor here in the top left. And that's actually a very fast pool.
Yeah, that's a 12 pool.
So, I haven't seen much of Scarlett's games. I don't think anybody has. She hasn't been, as active or as present. And of course, we also had that giant hiatus where there wasn't that much StarCraft at all. Sometimes when you're not in great shape, it's not a bad idea to do some kind of a crazy rush, do something aggro. So this is pool into gas. And we don't have a pool even started yet here for Reynor. So this, I don't have this mathed out perfectly as far as how hard this rush is going to hit on this map specifically. But obviously, the later the pool here for Reynor, the more heavy the hit is going to be from this rush.
Yeah, it'll be tricky to try and defend with a hatch first here for Reynor. It is possible, but you need some of the best control in the game to be able to pull one of these defensive plays off. Reynor is one of those guys who potentially could do it, though. We're going to have to see. Scarlett already putting her foot on the gas.
So it's going to be...
In addition to... yeah, we have Bailing speed coming in, too.
Yeah, the Banelings, I mean, this is going to hit really hard. Again, though, you've got so few drones here. The spawning pool is like halfway done right now, while these Lings are almost halfway across the map. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of time. Oh, he's... should see Scarlett's Lings headed northbound here. And,
might have missed it though, actually. Another drone gets started there for Reynor. We're gonna have to wait and see.
I guess you always go for the hatch with this rush, right?
I would think so,
Yeah.
but
I wondered if maybe it made sense to go to the main. So right now, Scarlett's hitting this this hatchery here. It's at about 80% health. We've got Lings coming here for Reynor. The Baneling's nest is a long ways away. There are 2 Banes morphing, by the way, I think just off of camera here. And so right now, Reynor's trying to use whatever extra larvae spawn from this hatchery to try to help out. The Lings are going to come by a little bit more time, although I think it's fair to say this hatchery is going to go down.
yeah, Baneling's doing a good job of zoning away the Lings right now for Reynor. So this hatchery, it is going to fall. In Reynor's main base, we have a Spinecrawler and a Queen just about to finish up. Just now they are done. Baneling nest about 90% to completion. Oh, gets a confirmed kill. Not a cancel on that Spinecrawler under production, but Reynor, he's done a pretty good job of kind of buttoning up this base. He's even morphing the Baneling cocoons to form even more of a choke point should Sasha try to break into that mineral line. And I think we might actually move into more of a normal position from here. You see Scarlett on the bottom of the screen. She's taking another expansion. She's trying to delay the expo here of Reynor.
Yeah, I mean, the push down here is looking pretty good. The Baneling can kind of zone out everything else that's here. The hatchery is going to have started. Right now, the worker count, it's 19 to 19, where Scarlett's second hatchery is actually about to finish. Reynor's has just restarted, so I think Scarlett is in a better position right now.
Yeah, I like this opening build from Scarlett. When I saw that gas coming down, I thought we were going to have Ling speed and we were going to have Banelings in a much more committed timing attack. But Scarlett only mining enough gas to get the Baneling nest, to get a couple of Banelings, and then quickly getting out this hatchery and then resaturating is so smart. Reynor will have a window where he's going to have Ling speed and Scarlett will not, and I believe he got the confirmation of the Scout 2 there, seeing the spawning pool, not jiggling. It had just started the upgrade, so he might decide to go for some kind of pressure here, but in any case, he's going to have map control for the next few minutes, and he's actually starting Carapace very quickly.
Yeah, so, from here, we're going to go into a macro game. I was wondering if that rush might have fatal damage and we'd already be in game 2, but it's not going to be the case. Now, I could be wrong, but I suspect that Reynor is probably going to be in an overall better form in a longer game, but I do like the position that Scarlett's already put herself in. I mean, she's in a really healthy spot right now. These Lings are going to come down. Another Ling actually darts inside the main to do a little bit of scouting. But I don't know that Reynor's going to be able to do that much more here. Ling speed, almost done for Scarlett. But I would imagine Reynor's not going to be able to really get anything done until that armor upgrade is finished.
Yeah, Reynor does start just a couple more Lings. 4 more are in production. Scarlett, by the way, even with this Ling, just a slow Ling, delaying the third base even more here from Reynor. Not able to get a kill on that drone, but still, seconds are an advantage, and it's actually 44 drones to just 31. So that early lead that Scarlett has is really starting to pay off right now. The income differential very big between these two players. Scarlett back at home, she's adding in additional gas geysers, going up to lair, getting an evolution chamber of her own, as well as a roach warren. And Reynor, it feels like he's trying potentially to get something done. There's a lot of Lings in production, +1 Carapace is getting closer and closer to completion. If there's gonna be a target for Reynor, it's almost certainly going to be this third base. Oh man, those Lings just barely scooted past those Banes.
Excuse me. Yeah, it looks like Reynor's going to try to come in here and poke at that third base. Definitely momentum on Reynor's side here. He's also going to run around with these Lings and go into the main.
Yeah, getting into the main base, 2 Banelings. One of them is going to get taken out here before it reaches the mineral line. These drones will have to evacuate. One already falling, one very close to also going down. So far, Scarlett's doing a really good job of defending this and also playing with quite some confidence, queuing up 7 drones during all of this aggression, Tasteless. She's starting up an infestation pit with roaches and range attack already. The infestation pit is so quick. I feel like we basically never see this in a ZVZ. This fast an infestation pit? Yeah, and that's like before 6 minutes. It's crazy.
This is wild. By the way, the hatchery taking a lot of damage down here. The Lings are just starting to wrap around. Scarlett does fend that off. But yeah, I'm very, very hyped for this infestation pit. Let's see what exactly she can do with this. I don't know that this hatchery is going to go down, but with one Baneling coming up here, in fact, they're both going to try to avoid each other's Banelings. A detonation right in the middle where the drones were killing a lot of workers off. 4 down, now 6.
Word counts have equalized right now. These roaches are going to do a very good job of cleaning up these lings to stabilize the position here, and we already have 2 infestors starting for Scarlett. So I wonder if she is going to take additional geysers, as Mapura Observer is pointing out the infestation pit not scouted there. Maybe she's going to go for some kind of wombo combo with Ravager Bile plus infestor here in the mid game, because that could be a very potent timing attack. You get 2 infestors, allow them to build up the energy over the course of a couple of minutes, and suddenly you have 4 fungals that can pair up with potentially limitless biles if you play really gas heavy, right?
Yeah, I think so. That missile upgrade's almost done. 2 more infestors about to hatch out here. Worker count's almost even. Well, I say that, and then Scarlett darted ahead by about a 10-worker lead. So she's in pretty good shape right now. The Overlords are all being sent out. I assume this is going to be kind of to monitor everything that's out on the map here. You know, right now it's not like we have Mutatech as an example here for Reynor, so you might as well just send the Overlords across the map. I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, Cham's not playing today, so no Mutas on the field just yet.
Yeah, so there are a couple lings in the top right, which I think are going to be used for a Baneling run by later on. But for now, it's just powering. I mean, it was a pretty explosive back and forth game, but things have really slowed down here. Roach Ravager is still being produced. Nice snipe on that Overlord, actually. Getting the pick on there.
Scarlett's at 66 drones,
okay,
which is exactly 3 base saturation with the 6 geysers as well. And I think she's going to do nothing but build Roaches, Ravagers, and Banelings with 5 more Overlords finishing up. And keep in mind, those infestors very high on energy. I think they're close to having 2 fungals already if they're not there yet. And so the bile potential here from Scarlett is more than you would expect in a typical timing attack like this. She's pushing in. That Spine Crawler already adding a lot of value. Actually just gonna fungal down one of these Overlords. Reynor still with Overlord speed is able to dodge it as the Banelings run into that 3rd base. Reynor, quick reaction, isn't able to pull away. Only 6 drones going down. That Overlord finally does get taken out by the Biles. I think Scarlett was fishing for a little bit more damage than she was actually able to get with this move, but she's not stopping. More Roaches, more Ravagers in production, and plus 2 range attack is so close to being completed tasteless.
What is the deal with all the Overlords bunched up there on the side?
I have no idea.
That looks so weird. I was imagining it was going to be fanned out. But
I assume there's a very smart reason. I don't want to out myself as a fraud for not knowing what it is.
I just looked at that and I'm like, that seems so weird. Anyways, Scarlett is winding up for a big attack over here. The infestors are in range. She hasn't gone for the kill move just yet. Reynor's trying to stockpile and get some of his own. He's going to take a 4th base here now as well. But the question's going to be, can Reynor survive this next attack?
Yeah, plus 2 missile attacks just going to finish right now. Right as Scarlett is reaching max supply, and that's going to be the cue to move in. Fungals absolutely massive on those Roaches. You can see the front line of Roaches just get obliterated by the Biles. And now Scarlett is stutter stepping forward with these Roaches. The front line of Reynor has collapsed. Scarlett is still maxed. GG is called. And we have an upset already here in game number 1. Scarlett with some really cool tactics.
Jesus.
And that opening map, the 12 pool, getting just enough damage to have a lead into the macro game.
Yeah.
And then a technique that we basically never see, at least in Korean style ZVZ and GSL.
Yeah.
We never see an infestation pit that fast, but it makes so much sense. Just full 3 base saturation. You get 2 infestors out super quick. You kind of play them like you would a Templar, where you want to get them out early and gather enough energy to cast at least 2 spells. And you see what a difference it makes. Like, those fungals connected with the Roaches, and it wasn't like the shot that's going to be able to take all of them down, but the rapid fire on the Biles, just basically shaving off the entire front row, is like chef's kiss. I mean, that is just perfect play. What a cool timing attack from Scarlett.
It was really impressive. Let's not forget how that game started, by the way. That was super fast pull, super fast gas into killing the hatchery. I think Reynor actually played a really good game recovering that. He had the 1 Baneling and the Queen and kind of pushed down onto the low ground. Reclaimed that. Scarlett had a substantial lead, but on some level, like, I think if you walked into the room and that game was halfway through, you would have no idea that that's how it started.
Yeah.
It really moved into more of a kind of organic, back and forth where Scarlett wins on tech there.
Yeah, so this is going to be the last group, by the way, of the round of 16 as we very quickly take a look back at how we got here. It has been kind of a marathon run here in the very first week of RSL, as everything is moving at light speed leading up towards EWC. By the end of today, we will have our lineup for the top 8. And in Group D, I mean, Reynor, Scarlett, ShoWTimE, and Classic. I do feel like coming into this one, even after Scarlett had that terrific performance in map number 1, she is probably the underdog to advance from this group. ShoWTimE has some really good PBZ macro play, and Classic literally just won a GSL on the back of his macro PBZ play. So this has the potential to be a longer game, or a longer day if we have those really late game PBZ styles deployed here. But it's been a fun road. Kiribun, Hero Clem, Chamshin, and soon to be 2 more very good players from Group D.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one here. Very surprising, by the way, Scarlett gets that 1-0 lead to start this off. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of assumed that Reynor should be pretty unstoppable. But, you know, people have told me this before, but Scarlett's one of these people who doesn't have to play that much to be, like, really strong. Like, she can come back and perform extremely well.
Reminds me of Stefano a little bit. Just 2 players that are a little bit more cerebral, even though Stefano was much more... he was cerebral, but in a different way. I feel like when you see Scarlett play her games, usually there are some very clever and creative tactics, like those super fast infestors off of the 12 pool rush.
Right.
Just try to find a specific lead, whereas you go back in time and you watch Stefano, it's like, I'm the first guy to figure out how to make 200 supply of roaches at 6 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, in any case, Scarlett looking really fantastic to kick us off here in Group D. She's leading this series 1-0 as we have Reynor, the Italian Zerg, spawning here in the top right as the red Zerg, and Scarlett, the blue Zerg, here in the top left. And once more, Tasteless, we got a very fast pool. Actually on the grid, by the way. First time we're seeing this map here in the RSL. One of the fan-voted maps in.
Yeah, it's going to be Scarlett, by the way. She's blue this time. I think she was red last time, so don't be confused, everybody at home. Scarlett is once again going to be doing a super fast pool. This is exciting. Okay, so it's an early pull here for Reynor as well. Generally speaking, if like one person goes for a super fast pull and the other person also makes their spawning pull a couple drones later, the person who made it later is in a better position. Yeah. It's a simple way to think about it because you both got the same tech, but we're zooming on the Blizzard side. I didn't even notice that was there before. But yeah, I totally lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, because you're going to have a little bit more development, so you should be in good shape. There's 6 lings being made. We got to see how many lings are actually produced here for Reynor as well.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Wait, are we gonna have...
Oh, it's gonna be a spine crawler rush.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh, this is just a down and dirty day.
I like it, man.
We're all gonna have to take a bath after this. This is just absolutely filthy rushing play.
Oh, it's more than just a spine crawler rush, Tasteless. We have tons of drones getting pulled right now for Scarlett. These 3 initial will get spotted by the Overlord here of Reynor as he immediately starts a spine crawler in the main base. And I think Scarlett was probably hoping that this is going to be a hatch first, but no, it is not. So already 1 drone going down. Scarlett, for a moment, she eyes the hatchery there in the natural expansion and says, you know what, I need to break into the main base. And now the drones are getting pulled here for Reynor.
Okay, it looks like 1 is denied. Oh, but they're GG. That's what I call StarCraft II.
Yeah, man. Well, that was a fun game. I guess that's the grid for you, everybody. That's
I guess there's a reason why we don't see that strategy used very often.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of strategy where, like, if your opponent goes hatch first, they're going to have a really hard time stopping it. But Reynor going for, I think that was like a 16 pool, if I'm not mistaken. He has the 6 lings and he's able to shut that down in a hurry.
Well, it's a build order win. But yeah, I mean, if that was hatch first, I think it's game over. Interesting to see the 3 drones sent out. And then was it like 4? It was a lot. Later on?
It was like almost all of the drones. We had like 5 or 6 more coming.
Are we going to have another rush here from Scarlett? I know that, you know, build order randomization and having like a range of play is really important, but I do kind of feel like she's cheesing today.
I like it though. Honestly, it's kind of a nice break after we had, I think, 10 games of ZVZ yesterday where everyone did the same thing up until 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yesterday was maybe one of the most difficult casts ever. We had so many ZVZs where they literally were just doing the same builds. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. There's a point where there's not a lot to say. Like, I'll be back in 5 minutes when the game, there's something to remark on. I'm like, well, they're both taking a 3rd base. Yeah. Here come the Baneling nests at the same time.
The deviation would come in when Cham finally builds a Spire. That's how you know you're playing a macro ZVZ, is you have to wait until the Spire is getting thrown out in 6 minutes for a change.
Okay, so it's going to be Scarlett now, blue again here in the top right. Reynor, red in the bottom left. Will we have a pool right away? Both sides going for the extractor trick here to get up to 15 drones.
Breaking the game, Tasteless.
It's cheating.
I remember the first time I saw an extractor trick.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was watching, because back then I was not good at RTS games. Like, I played them super casually. I was just watching GSL Season 1 with you and Artosis casting that, and I was like, you can do that? That feels illegal.
I remember somebody in my school showing me that.
Oh,
I was like,
that's something especially cool.
Yeah, where I was like, yeah, there's actually a way you can make an extra drone.
Man, I never even considered. I didn't have any friends in school. Well, I mean, I've had friends in school. I'm not that sad.
State is such a loser.
Oh man, Ziggy is losing his mind.
You didn't have any friends in school, State, and you don't have any friends now.
I didn't have any friends.
Nothing
in school
changes.
Who played StarCraft II? Oh God, I really set myself up for that one.
Yeah, that was, you walked right into that one, man.
Ziggy's face is so red right now. Oh man.
No, well, that was, I remember.
If I had friends in school, I wouldn't be here today.
If you had friends in school, you would have known about that extractor trick. This is.
I would have had to wait for the GSL Season 1. Oh my God.
So this is going to be one of those games like yesterday where we're kind of just watching the production tabs and seeing if anybody's going to deviate.
You talk more.
You want me to talk?
I'm gathering my
lots of friends in school. If you guys were wondering, now that we're on the topic of it.
I even had a girlfriend in school. Yeah.
I had it all.
All right, I'm good. I'm good now.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. Well, we're going to be back into kind of your standard. They're doing the exact same things. Look at that production tab. Lean in, chat. Drink it in. They're mirror builds. Scarlett appears to be going for an honorable build. An honorable build this time around.
Yeah, look at this. Her Zergling speed's about 3 seconds later, Tasteless.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, they flipped the colors again, right? That's Reynor. Oh, man, even I'm getting confused right now.
Yeah, I think we can
Scarlett,
get that fixed after this game. But yeah, there was a color switch. It was kind of messing with my brain there. So, here comes the third hatchery here. Reynor going to be stretching out on the map. I would imagine we're going to see that from Scarlett. If not, we're going to see her start to wall in at her entrance and maybe tech into like layers, something like that.
Yeah, it does seem like we are going to have that third base as the hatchery finally does get thrown down. Extra queen coming in here for Scarlett. Reynor just continuing to drone up, and it's the good old-fashioned ZVZ. Well,
yeah,
we wait to see.
There's
a Baneling nest,
game
but it's not very exciting because in a moment Reynor's also going to have his own Baneling nest, and there it is.
This is peak ZVZ right here. But again, I want to point out it's exciting how well Scarlett's playing so far here today. We're spiking up to 14 links, by the way.
Oh yeah, some excitement.
I think we're gonna have a little attack here from Scar.
From Reynor. The Reds
swap the colors.
Sorry,
it's gonna be Reynor attacking in here. It's gonna be a quick Ling scout in here. Reynor is going to be coming out on the map. Now, you need to, excuse me, he just went right under the Overlords.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. There's no other way to get across.
I guess there's no way to run around, yeah.
So Scarlett's immediately going to start up 4 Banelings here right at the ramp. There isn't a wall in of the natural expansion, but Reynor instead has his eyes actually set on this third hatchery. That's going to be very precarious. It's already down to about 800 HP and dropping here. Scarlett is pulling the queen, so it looks like she's going to try and defend. Of course, without creep, you cannot transfuse. That is just going to go down. I think even these queens might just have the energy for only 1 transfuse. So those Banelings showing up just a little bit too late. Reynor able to confirm the kill. And how is Scarlett going to respond from this? Do you retake the hatchery? Do you try and levy some pressure of your own? Because right now she is moving cross map. She's droning behind it though, adding in that third hatch.
Yeah, so the small Ling counterattack here from Scarlett is going to be hitting that base. There's also Lings hitting the hatchery up there. Banelings are going to come forward here. Almost gets a snipe on that one Bane with the queens. The question is going to be, can Scarlett take out this hatchery? Otherwise, Reynor's going to be massively ahead. Reynor, by the way, has actually ran into the main here with these 2 Lings. They're doing a little bit of scouting as well.
Able to confirm exactly what the drone count is. Sees no more Lings in production, and Scarlett's just going to pull back right now.
And so these Lings are going to come down. And I mean, right now, Reynor's in a very healthy position. It's going to be pretty difficult for Scarlett to recover. She's got missile attack coming down here and the layered tech, but I mean, she's fundamentally like incomplete compared to what Reynor's got, which is a functioning third base. Did I see that right? Yeah, 3 spine crawlers are thrown down there, which doesn't show me that there's a lot of confidence in even keeping this third hatchery alive. It almost doesn't make sense. It's like, are you turtling or are you going to expand?
Yeah, I wonder if this is a little bit of a mystery. By the way, that Baneling getting a huge connection on Scarlett's wings.
Yeah, I think she thought there was a timing attack coming.
I think she might have just canceled those actually
Yeah,
on the production tab.
So,
I don't believe they're done.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on there. So, yeah, they're all gone. So now we're just going to go back into this macro game. Now, Reynor's drinking in the resources from this third base and has been for a while. Scarlett's third base is very fresh. Drones are being transferred as we speak. But that missile upgrade is going to be finishing for Scarlett, so she will have stronger roaches on the front line.
Yeah, that is the one meaningful advantage that Scarlett is going to have here heading into the mid game. Is I believe Reynor also has the faster layer. He's getting roach speed out already, and moving across map. This third base not very well saturated by Scarlett just yet, of course. Very fresh base. And Reynor, he is just continuing to churn out roaches right now. 61 drones, does not need to build any more. He's going to be attacking almost into an anti-timing right when Scarlett is finishing her +1 range attack, and the armor supplies are relatively equal here. But let's not forget that Reynor could also just peel back if he wanted to. He does have the worker lead. He's going to have roach speed much faster than his opponent. And it seems like that's just exactly what he is going to do.
Okay, so we're in this powering up phase right now. The second missile attack upgrade has started immediately here for Scarlett. So Reynor in some ways is playing a little bit of catch up here, trying to get all that out. And yeah, we don't have a fourth base on either side, but that is going to be an inevitability. Reynor's going to ramp it up. This could be a game where Reynor can both take a fourth and deny Scarlett growth on the map. I don't know if he'll have enough to actually do a kill move here, but I don't know how Scarlett's going to get out of this position.
Yeah, for Reynor right now on 62 drones, I think he's just going to keep. I say that, and he immediately queues up 6 more drones. Maybe we will have that fourth base in the pipeline really soon here for Reynor. It felt like he was kind of lining up to go for some sort of timing attack, as Scarlett's going to be the first player trying to expand to a fourth base, taking that position there in the top left, whereas Reynor takes the triangle base on his side of the map. Scarlett, she did lift up 1 Overlord with 4 roaches. Overlord speed isn't done yet, so the Biles are going to have to get dodged very precariously here. And Reynor actually just pouncing right on his position, immediately able to take down those 3 Ravagers of Scarlett. And there are just overwhelming numbers here for our Italian Zerg. That third base, you can see the difference that it makes in terms of the macro, as Reynor just had so much more. And this was a very fun series, but in the end, Reynor is going to be able to close it out 2-1.
Yeah, I love that series. That was a lot of fun. Excellent play there from Reynor. Scarlett clearly still very tournament viable right now, even taking 1 game off Reynor early on. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it's really fun to see Scarlett come in today with builds like the ones that she showcased in Game 1 and Game 2. You know, the 12-pull opening and then also the Infestor timing attack was so cool. It's kind of hard still to gauge exactly where she is at in terms of form, but certainly a lot of thought coming into Group D. I wonder how she's going to do later on.
Guys, we're going to take a short break. Coming up next is another mirror matchup of PvP. We'll be getting to that in just a few minutes. See you soon. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're just getting the maps vetoed in here, and then we're going to be hopping into this PvP. It's going to be Classic versus ShoWTimE.
Yeah, going to be a really fun series, I think. ShoWTimE is one of these players that I have been looking up to for so long, Tasteless. Yeah. He has such a clean and refined approach to the game. He's a very dignified Protoss player. Compared to some of these more chaotic Protoss types, ShoWTimE, like, he is a pleasure to watch play. He's one of the best players, I think, if you're trying to learn the game and you want to try and model the way that you play on like a pro. Yeah. He is like the guy to go look at, in my opinion.
Excellent player. He's got the best posture out of all the stars. Have you guys ever noticed this? ShoWTimE has posture that is so good. It's like he sits up perfectly straight. I've actually thought about messaging him and being like, do you have like a workout routine to sit up that straight?
Now I'm thinking about my posture.
My posture's terrible. I look like I should be ringing a bell in a tower. I'm like all like hunched over. All right, guys, consider signing up on Patreon. Patreon.com/ReviveSC2. We need your help. We need your support. We want this tournament to be, when it is, seasonal, and we want to have good quality competition stuff out there, well produced, but we can only do it with the backing of the community. The larger our Patreon gets, the more we can do to enhance the show. We do have a goal to eventually do an offline event with the studio audience. There's a couple esports like studios or stadiums in Seoul, so we'd have to rent one of those out and then staff it. But yeah, consider signing up. Look at the posture. Am I wrong or what?
Amazing.
You'd think he's at a standing desk. He's not. He's sitting down. Absolutely straight back.
It's a nice guitar he's got, too.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a
big
flex.
Trophies.
Look
he's
at
got
his
a
whole
fridge
room
of energy drinks. You can see a DreamHack star right there on the wall.
He's got some pillows on the back, so if he loses the game and he's mad, he goes, he just throws himself on those pillows and cries.
Yeah.
This is a great room.
His posture is
perfectly.
incredible.
Look at it is incredible. It is absolutely incredible how good his posture is.
I'm getting very self-conscious watching this. It makes me feel less human.
Oh, I just accepted it.
I'm just a worse person.
I'm like always halfway into being like in a Sonic the Hedgehog ball. Like when I sit down, I'm just like, if there's an animation of Sonic just like about to do the Sonic spin dash, you know?
Yeah.
Where he goes in the fetal push, goes.
I love how we. No, people. I was like, yeah, people get to immediately see you showcase your posture.
I'm doing my Sonic ball. That's how I get to the RSL when I'm late. I gotta go outside my door.
You're rolling the ball.
I hold down B and I go. I go up one little loop and I go right into the studio.
You're getting all the rings on the way over here too.
That's right, all the rings.
Yeah,
exactly.
Every ring is just an individual Patreon subscription.
Yeah, exactly. And then I get hit right before I come in. My rings just spill everywhere.
And it's up to you, the viewer, to collect them.
That's right. So we have the players in the lobby now, so I think we'll be able to start this shortly here.
Yeah, gonna be talking about for game number one as we're getting ready to start that one out. ShoWTimE versus Classic is a matchup that I feel like I can't even remember if I've casted these specific players go up against each other. I see them play all the time. I actually had the pleasure of being able to cast the EWC Europe qualifiers this year, and I got to see ShoWTimE's entire journey there, which was just a thrill to watch. But yeah, this is going to be a very fun PvP, I think. Classic versus ShoWTimE. One of the best Protoss players in Korea right now, the reigning GSL champion, going up against one of the most honorable and dignified macro tosses that Europe's ever produced. It's going to be a pleasure.
Yes, I think Classic probably quite the favorite here. I mean, obviously, off of a GSL win, he looks to be in incredible condition. But let's see what ShoWTimE can do. And I think, we are going to be starting this game in a second here.
All right.
So yeah, ShoWTimE versus Classic in this best of 3. Scarlett is waiting for the loser in the losers match, and obviously Reynor is waiting for the winner in the winners match here. So we're going to be off the mirror matchup train in a second here and on to PVZs for you guys. Yeah, so our game is finally loaded up.
Yeah, let's get to it, man. Game is loaded in. Tokamak is the map, and we have the blue Protoss players spawning in the top right. It is Classic.
Yes. So, yeah, let's see what kind of game these guys are going to bring us. Are we going to have any kind of crazy cheeses? PvP, I think there's more openings you can do in that matchup than any of the other matchups. So you have a lot of different types of games that can pan out.
Yeah, we have a lot of players experimenting with 1-gate expands right now. in PvP. It's something that I know that MaxPax loves to do, and it's something that other Protoss players usually don't try it that much unless it's a map with a high ground natural expansion, but it's been starting to trend a little bit here in Korea, so we'll have to wait and see exactly how fast these Nexuses are going to go out, if we're going to have standard 2-gate openings. Very curious how they're both going to play this one out.
Yeah, we've got the first probe moving out on the map here from ShoWTimE. He's going to be headed up here into the top right. And basically, in PvP, we have to wait for the cybernetics core to finish. We need to see what kind of tech it's going to be. You know, you look at a matchup like TVT, and it's like they're always going to have, you know, the 3 core tech structures. They get their barracks, they get their factory, they get their starport, right? Almost always. But PvP, you know, and the way that Protoss operates inherently is that you have to pick one tech, and it shoots the game in a very specific trajectory. And so it's always interesting to see, you know, how those things pan out together.
That was a really cool move that Classic did just a moment ago. He sent the probe out as if it was just a standard scout timing, like he's scouting maybe after the second gateway gets thrown down. And then the moment that ShoWTimE's probe is a little bit too far up the ramp, Classic just does a 180 turn with that probe, goes back, throws down the Nexus, and ShoWTimE, he's going to try and punish him for it. He's got a second gateway back at home, and now he's proxying Pylon.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit aggro here from ShoWTimE. Classic, you know, the dynamic of this game now is that Classic has to survive whatever kind of rush ShoWTimE's going to throw at him. We'll see if it's going to be like a proxy robo here on the outside. He's going to get 2 adepts, by the way.
I feel like it's got to be a robo, just the way the minerals and the gas are looking. And
yeah, that's what I thought.
Will get thrown down. Are we gonna have a 3rd gateway there too?
I was also wondering if it could have just been a straight up 3-gate here with the proxied gateway. He is getting another gateway. So, I mean, this is gonna hit really hard. It doesn't look great for Classic right now. One of the decisions that you have to make at a moment like this too is, do I sack the expansion and just red up my ramp and hide, or do I try to stay down here and actually defend this and keep it?
Yeah, Sentry now being produced by Classic. I believe no shield battery in the natural just yet. On that production tab, the shield battery is only just now going down. Stalker actually going to scout this. Gamer. Yeah, we do have those 2 adepts, which are able to win the fight versus the Stalker, but I think Classic is just going to confirm the scout and then go back home.
Okay, so it's going to be Warp Prism first. And he's getting more gateways now on his high ground. I think it's only all powered by 1 pylon, which is kind of close to the ramp.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's going to be a factor. I guess that's actually not the hardest or the easiest pylon to hit from that position. The adepts are going to shape forward. They're going to see there is a block here, so we're going to get that canceled. And yeah, I mean, you know, how ready exactly is Classic going to be? We've got the first Warp Prism coming out. He's going to send this into the main. There's an Immortal being made after this. ShoWTimE super all in right now.
Yeah, those 4 adepts really want to get into the main base, but Classic with excellent positioning and the scouting hallucinated Phoenix able to stop that from commencing. And with this Stargate finishing up, we're almost certainly going to have a Void Ray coming onto the field very soon. And once that comes out, it's going to be a lot more complicated for ShoWTimE to try and break down this front door. Oh, it's going to be a Phoenix, actually. Look at that.
Okay, so he's not really getting anything done just yet. Ideally, he would have come in there and killed a lot of probes. With those adepts, it's a little bit harder to make this push work here at the front. There is an Immortal with this mix.
Force field able to isolate a lot of these units here on that top ramp. Probes are getting cold. Guardian Shield is going to pop, and that Sentry gets taken down immediately. And now the Phoenix is here. It can lift up this Immortal, and we don't have that many units on the ground that can shoot up. Instead, ShoWTimE is like, you know what? I'm just going to let this timer run out. That means that Classic will be able to take down that Immortal, but the damage is really starting to pile up.
Okay, he's still pushing up here, but it's not clear that he's got enough to actually snowball the damage. The Warp Prism is very low. If he loses it, oh, the rush is over.
Dude, I think Classic's done it. I was kind of surprised that he went for a Phoenix instead of a Void Ray, but that was absolutely the right decision. It gets there a little bit faster than the Void Ray does, and because his opponent opened up with 4 adepts, there wasn't really a lot of range firepower to immediately take down that Phoenix. ShoWTimE had to basically make a decision. Do I spend all of my range attack power, these like 3 Stalkers and Sentry that I have, on bringing this Phoenix down to 0? Or do I try and just get as much damage done on the Gateway army of my opponent as possible? He chose the latter. I don't even know if there was a correct call in that moment, but it means that the Immortal, it goes down, the Phoenix stays alive, eventually that Warp Prism falls. And Classic with a really nice defense there. I mean, ShoWTimE basically pulled the trigger on that timing attack as fast as you possibly could, and Classic was still able to defend. So I wonder if we're going to have something a little bit more macro from ShoWTimE here, just knowing that It's so hard to break Classic down.
It's a bit of a trophy off in here.
Yeah, it is.
There's one trophy. I see one giant trophy behind ShoWTimE, but then is that 2? No, there's also some awards. We should get our trophies behind us and put them here on the set.
Yeah,
I have my #1 caster trophy just behind me.
I got like a GSL pin that they just gave me as a caster, which isn't like, it doesn't signify any victory. It's like, yeah, congratulations, you were here.
Well, eventually,
put that on my chest.
It hasn't even occurred to me. I guess we will eventually, if we do a live event, have to make an RSL trophy.
Let's also give
We're gonna
ourselves
have to find
trophies.
a trophy. Yeah, I think we should. You know what? We should do it like they do in Little League, and everybody just gets a trophy. Everybody who plays in RSL is a champion. Like, who cares about merit, guys? All right, Classic in the top left, ShoWTimE in the bottom right. ShoWTimE bringing us a pretty aggressive all-in that, I mean, honestly, Classic could not have played better. It was like the perfect hold. He never let the Warp Prism get in there. A lot of times what happens is you'll unload the Adepts. The Adepts kill a ton of probes, and it slows the player who's defending down to a slog. And it's just really easy to, you know, manufacture enough Stalkers and Immortals to kind of just go in there and kill. But he never got in the main. And then what happened was he tried to push through the front, and it just wasn't enough. It seemed like Classic had cut enough probes, and he had stabilized. And once the Warp Prism was killed, the game was over.
Yeah, I was a little bit skeptical, foolishly so, of the way that Classic was responding to that with the 2 gateways before the Stargate and going for a Phoenix instead of a Void Ray. But basically every decision that he made seemed to be the correct one there in retrospect. That was a very convincing hold. And it's kind of a surprise to me that it seems like he's not actually gunning to go for another 1-gate expand here versus ShoWTimE. Instead, just relatively early scout. ShoWTimE, he doesn't want to get deked again by that probe, so instead he's going to be blocking the natural expansion here.
Okay, so 2 gateways, the Cybernetics core starting back here. ShoWTimE going to send his probe in, try to do a little confirmed scout. Nothing out of the ordinary yet. We're just going to basically have to wait until the core is done. See what the tech's going to be. Also, what the few sets of units is going to be. Is it going to be 2 Stalkers or 2 Sentries or what?
SimCity for Classic is pretty cool, by the way. Usually you see both of the 3x3 structures, like 2 gateways or a gateway and a core blocking the ramp and having just a little tiny opening that you can block with a shield battery. But for Classic right now, just the pylon and the 1 gateway, you still can block that with a shield battery. It's a very minor thing, but it's something that I feel like I basically never see a Protoss player SimCity this way in PvP.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I don't feel like I normally see this layout the way it is. So right now, a little bit like a lot of the ZVCs we casted yesterday, the production tabs are identical. Although we have a pylon put on the low ground, which generally telegraphs that you're going to be expanding. I mean, obviously you don't have to, but I don't know why you'd build infrastructure down there if you weren't. And so the question is going to be, does ShoWTimE want to try to match this and go into his own path of development, or does he want to try to punish this with some kind of you know, a push or some kind of cheese maybe?
Yeah, ShoWTimE also went for the pylon block there, so it delays the expansion of Classic a little bit. Of course, with that pylon block, it's a move that is very good if your opponent is going for something like a double Adept opening, like ShoWTimE tried in the previous map, although that was with the intention of going for a very aggressive play, not an expansion, because Adepts are just so slow at taking down those pylons. So ShoWTimE just able to confirm, keep Classic honest, make sure that it is a Stalker and a Sentry. Because now we have the tech of choice coming in for both players. It's going to be a Twilight Council on both sides.
So, we're going to have that Twilight Council and see if it's just going to be the Blink Tech or anything else like that. There is the possibility of something like with Adepts here. But if I had to guess, I think it's going to be one of these games where we're going to go up to 3 bases pretty quickly, and it's going to be a pretty macro-y game.
Yeah, I'm feeling the exact same way about this one. Usually that's the way it goes with mirrored builds like this. Protoss players have gotten so good, especially at this level, of just continuously macroing off of those initial 2 gateways and adding basically no production as they take their 3rd, and still having a pretty formidable standing army. So I'm kind of expecting to see that, especially as we have both players proto boosting out probes and getting their blink started.
Yeah, and so this is going to be an extremely different feel for a game here compared to what we had in Game 1. And it's going to be 3 bases coming up pretty soon here. There is a nice spread on the map here of Stalkers for Classic. You know, there's basically 2 locations you can expand into for a 3rd. You can either kind of go for a long stretch, or you can take the, as State calls it, the triangle 3rd. We see Classic taking his first. And we need to see ShoWTimE take his, unless he's trying to do something like a 2-base timing to come in here and basically thwart a player who's going to go up to 3 bases.
Yeah, those minerals are starting to mount here for ShoWTimE, and no additional production is coming in, so I think he is going to take that third, and yes, he does finally get thrown down. Both players taking the triangle base. And we'll see what ShoWTimE's able to get done with these two Adepts. Classic was able to spot them with the Stalker on the Watchtower earlier, so he's going to have this in the back of his mind for the next couple of minutes. It's kind of like a Reaper in TVP, how like you breathe a sigh of relief as the Protoss the moment that goes down. You kind of feel the same way about these Adepts in TVP, where it's like, okay, once those are finally dead, I can rest easy for another moment.
So we have the Robo a little bit further along here. A very slow, very quiet game, to be honest here. The Forge starting now for ShoWTimE. His Forge is a little bit, in fact, I don't believe the Forge was made yet for Classic. So yeah, he's gonna get that tech out here a little bit more quickly. And there it is, you see Classic starting his as well. And I mean, there's just, I guess, not too much else to say here. We're kind of just seeing things continuing to develop here.
Yeah.
We could end up in a game where later on it's going to be Charge Lot Archon. It's fairly common in PvP. One of the more frustrating unit comps to try to control because you have to hope the Zealots get the right pairings.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's very tricky. And I think the main thing that we're going to have to keep our eyes on right now is whether either of these guys is going to be taking a fourth Gas Geyser anytime soon, because the meta in a lot of PvP these days is just to stay on these 3 Gas Geysers, and then every additional probe you make, it's going on to Minerals. Minerals are OP, basically. They make Zealots, they make Stalkers. Those are two of the best units in PvP.
They're pretty good.
PvP is very much about rapid expanding and mobility, so these Adepts are finally going to get cleaned up, or at least one of them will here by Classic. And ooh, ShoWTimE actually with a very nice blink, able to get some big hull damage done on that.
Ooh,
be careful.
Seemed like it was a bad hotkey there. Almost lost all the Stalkers. So he's going to back up. We have Adept Glaives coming in here. Kind of a late Glaives upgrade here from ShoWTimE. Very interesting.
Oh, this is so cool. I'm not sure I've seen a Glaives go up to blink like this with the 4th gas coming in. It feels like ShoWTimE is trying to specifically counter the 3 gas style that Classic is doing. I haven't seen this at play before. Off of this many Stalkers with an expansion like this, it's going to be a really interesting setup because we do have the Twilight Council going, not the Twilight, the Templar Archives going down here for Classic, but when you're only on 3 Gas Geysers and you're mostly just saturating the minerals with all the additional probes that you make as you take that 4th expansion, you're maybe going to have like 1 Archon here for Classic, possibly 2. And then the rest of it's just going to be Zealots, and the Adepts are going to shred that.
Yeah, this is very cool to see. We've got the Observer right now for Classic gliding through the main, basically surveying what the tech and unit comp is. The 4th base is going to finish here for Classic, and you know, you're going to see that there's something upgrading there, but you don't know, what's going on inside. You might actually think that's just Zealot Charge or something like that. But when you see a lot of Adepts, then you know what kind of tech it's going to be. Now, ShoWTimE's moving out and Classic's expanding. I don't know that ShoWTimE can break him, but if he doesn't, then Classic's going to be massively ahead because his 4th base will have been finished up.
Classic is morphing in 1 Archon right now, so there's going to be a little bit of tankiness here that is going to be quite strong against both the Immortals and the Adepts of ShoWTimE. And this is the first time that Classic is seeing. This is actually going to be an Adept Glaives timing attack. As the attack comes in, we're fielding off, secting off a lot of these Zealots, immediately getting melted right now by these Adepts on the front line. That Archon there on the top starting to take some damage from these Stalkers as ShoWTimE goes for another real big warp in and blinks forward.
You can see now the Adepts are being pushed back here by all these Zealots in the front. The Archon's still doing a lot of damage. Looks like one of them is going to be picked off as the shields disappear. ShoWTimE, with so much over here, manages to take out both of those Immortals. And with a much more sophisticated army, ShoWTimE's going to just keep pushing forward here.
Yes, Immortal is getting so much damage done. The Adepts still standing very strong in a big round of Stalker warp-ins. Man, this army from ShoWTimE is just so powerful. He is barreling down into this expansion. The mineral line is dead, and ShoWTimE blinks with confidence on top of Classic's army. I think we're getting ready to go into a game number 3. What a sick timing attack.
Yeah, beautifully done. I think that this game's basically over. GG, ShoWTimE with a beautiful comeback, an excellent timing attack, hitting that 4th base, and just overpowering everything that the Classic had there. Excellent game.
That was such a cool build from ShoWTimE. I'm kind of dreading hitting up the ladder this weekend because I'm pretty sure I'm going to start seeing this. The 3 gas style of PvP where you have like 1 Archon because you're spending the gas on like the Stalkers and on the upgrades and getting charged, and you only have 3 gas geysers at all. That's basically all you get. The rest of it's going to be Zealots as you're taking those expansions. And this timing attack is hitting with this critical mass of Adepts where the Zealots can just get no surface area. The Adepts, they shred them, and then on top of it, the rest of Classic's army is basically just Stalkers, which do not do bonus damage versus Adepts. And so ShoWTimE, his Stalker backline, the couple of Immortals that he's added mixed in, is just getting so much damage done. That is such a well-crafted build.
Yeah, it was really good. It's hard to even see it coming until it hits because you can mask it so well. It looks like you're maybe just behind in a normal macro game, and then the timing attack just hits. So we're going to go into Game 3 now and decide who will be winning this and going up to face off against Reynor here in the winner's match. Classic in the top, ShoWTimE in the bottom. And, you know, ShoWTimE definitely showing us in Game 2 he's more than capable of playing, you know, a solid development game instead of just doing it all in like he did in Game 1.
Oh, yeah, I feel like that is honestly his forte. Especially in the other matchups, PvT and PvZ. When I think of ShoWTimE, I think of rock-solid macro Protoss styles.
Yeah.
He wanted to punish Classic for his greed in game number 1 when Classic opted to go for that very fast gate expand. It didn't work. I feel like, given the success that ShoWTimE had in game number 2, I think he's going to try and throw another curveball here into Classic in game 3, but I don't think it's going to be the kind of early all-in that we saw in game 1. I think it's much more likely to be something similar to what we saw there in map 2, a timing that's going to hit later if there is going to be one.
So we have this probe coming up here into the top left, and it's going to be ShoWTimE once again with the first scout. Double gateway started here for Classic with a core immediately after that, but ShoWTimE's going for one gateway right now.
Yeah, it's going to be ShoWTimE that goes for the gate expand this time.
Yeah, going to go for a Nexus immediately down here before the Cybernetics core.
Ooh, going to have a little hidden pylon maybe.
Yeah, let's see. Excuse me. just choking on my own spit, no big deal. Yeah, he did hide a pylon up there in the top right. We see the probe just now leaving it. Now, you know, there's something beautiful about hiding the pylon and then not using it for tech, because the other player, when they scout, they go, oh no, I'm being proxied or something's happening. It's a very strong move. So, in this game, we got to see, is Classic going to try to rush? Is he going to try to do anything, or is he just going to play a game for where he's a little bit behind and try to expand himself?
Well, he's actually opting to go for Adepts as well, so kind of an interesting setup. I feel like we're probably going to see a Stargate here in the main base as a result of this, because you kind of need to get some damage done. But no, instead just sending that probe down into the natural expansion.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure he was out of eye shot of the other probe. But yeah, he's banked up the 400 minerals, so he'll start that Nexus. And you know, it's actually ShoWTimE that started the first Stargate tech, so we're getting that kind of definitive tech branch. And Classic hides a pylon to the far right now. And this map, you both start out on the left side, so it's like if they're not searching for it, it's really easy to hide stuff over there. You know, if you're not combing that side of the map, you will go completely undetected.
Yeah, and I wonder what this is going to be for, because when you go for a gate expand like this one with ShoWTimE, it is standard to go for the very fast Stargate follow-up. It just makes your defense so much more solid against robo play. It's one of the reasons why this one gate expand has become so popular, is because people have started to map out that, yeah, you add in the Stargate, you get either a Void Ray or some Phoenix, and you're usually very safe if there's a Warp Prism trying to bust you down, or if there's a Robo trying to bust you down. But for Classic, that's not what it's going to be. This is going to be mostly just a gateway unit timing attack. We're going to have to wait and see exactly how committed he will be with this push, because right now I think this is just the third gateway going down. Correct me if I'm wrong.
What is he going to hit with here? He's got a Phoenix being made, which is kind of interesting. Phoenix is not always that handy at handling like a timing attack like this. Phoenixes are like, you know, when you just have one, two, they're pretty useless. You need to accumulate enough. It's like clapping with one hand or trying to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it really is.
It's like, unless, like, maybe this Adept's afraid of heights. I don't know, but it's probably not, you know. Okay, but when the second one comes in there, you get a little bit more symbiosis. But yeah, we're going to have what I believe is just Stalker Blink. Although the proxied gateway is like, it seems a bit early, doesn't it?
I think it's going to be some kind of gateway pressure levied earlier on, but not a full commitment from Classic. And then behind it, he will follow up with Blink versus the Phoenixes.
Did he see it?
Definitely seeing it now.
What's up now?
Sentries, too. Ooh, that Phoenix took a lot of damage. Oh my god, that's so much damage going down on that Phoenix.
So Blink starts, but the Blink is going to be done like before this rush is done. He's going to try to move it now. Now, if you're too far out, these sentries are going to just lock him in. That's exactly what's going to happen. The Guardian Shield looking so strong. There's so much damage coming out that the battery can't really compete. And so it's going to be these units wiped out here. Classic looking extremely strong. He's going to back up and just gun down some of these workers here. Another force field goes down. This is a lot of kills here. But somehow, most of the probes are like at no HP and somehow got away. That's actually insane to me.
Yeah, ShoWTimE only has one gateway. He went gate, Stargate, Robo, and so there isn't really a lot of room for reinforcements here. The shield battery is doing its best to keep this Phoenix alive, but finally when the energy dissipates, it's going to be the probes that are the front line here for ShoWTimE. And behind this, let's not forget Classic. He is continuing to macro up. There has been very little probe cutting going on. He's at 43 workers right now. And with Stalker Blink halfway done, yes, this Immortal will allow ShoWTimE to stabilize. Most likely, although Classic, he is testing the waters.
Yeah, he just doesn't quite have enough of anything. Oh God, this Immortal is so low. He repairs it. Now there's a tension on the battery. He sniped that down as well. The Immortal is actually getting blocked by the Stalkers. It's picked off here too. There's a second one almost out, but it's also possible he could unpower this pylon and shut that down.
This is relatively a low commitment coming in from Classic here with a 3-gate timing attack, but because ShoWTimE opted to go 1 gate into Phoenix and behind that Robo, there just simply isn't enough production for the Red Protoss to be able to stand a chance against this. So many units just getting picked off here by Classic. He's taking a 3rd base right now, Tasteless. Blink is nearly done.
Okay, he's gonna come in again. The Stalkers are doing so much damage. GG, Classic takes that game. Beautiful performance.
Yeah, that was really well done. The build that ShoWTimE was going for, if Classic had opted to go for something like a Robo Proxy, ShoWTimE would have been all over it. The Phoenix is going to be an excellent response to that. But because it was just pure gateway units, until that Immortal is out, there's really nothing on the ground that ShoWTimE has that can easily dispatch the forces of Classic, or at least repel them and buy some time. So that was just a very clean win for Classic. I mean, it's a little bit of a gamble because, of course, you have the later expansion, you're delaying your tech a little bit, but the pro production was basically constant. He was even taking the 3rd base. Blink was finishing up.
Yeah.
That was an excellent game by Classic, and he's going to advance to play Reynor.
Yeah, so we're going to go to a short little break. And coming up here, we've got a great PvZ for you guys. It's going to be Classic versus Reynor. We'll be right back. The RSL bubbles are gone. We're back. We have to hold our breath the entire time.
We're actually underwater
We're actually underwater.
Yeah.
So we're back. We're ready to go into game number best of three, number 3 here. It's going to be Classic versus Reynor.
Yeah.
This is going to be sick. I'm very excited for this one.
I am really stoked for this one. Reynor had a brilliant showing in GSL Season 1 this year, and then I think just because the schedule was so packed, wasn't able to participate in GSL Season 2. And to have him now go against a GSL Season 2 champion, ooh. I'm excited, Taste. One of these guys is going to be advancing directly into the round of 8 double elimination playoff bracket that we've got. The other one's going to have to fall into the final match and either face the winner of ShoWTimE versus Scarlett to make it through. And, you know, I would feel like typically just Classic being the reigning GSL champion, the way that he was able to dispatch Rogue, I would put him as the favorite. But Reynor has just been so solid that I really have no idea who's going to win this one.
I think that I think Reynor's got a good shot. I mean, with Classic winning GSL, you kind of got to go, well, he's in the best shape he could possibly be in, right? But you never know. I mean, never count Reynor out. Reynor's been very hungry, very competitive lately. So yeah, you know, once our game's good to go, we're gonna hop into it. But and again, when we're done today, that's it for you know, all the groups.
Yeah, the round
going to the next phase.
Groups are gonna be done.
And don't forget, because there's so much StarCraft happening everywhere as we're kind of scrambling to get ready for the Esports World Cup. There's going to be like a break. There's about 10 days, I think.
Yeah, we have 1 week off, so right now it is the 20th here. It is Friday in Korea. We're finishing up the round of 16, and then there is a 1 week off break while I believe Home Story Cup is going to be taking place. Yeah. And then we will be back the following week starting on Thursday. And then, yeah, we're going to be more regular with Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We don't know what Season 2 is going to look like yet, but just we appreciate you guys bearing with us for this schedule that's kind of hopping around. These were literally the only days we could have this happen on. Yeah. So, and I think we're gonna like finish that, and then the next day I'm gonna be on a plane to Riyadh. Yeah, with it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's exciting times. And by the way, this tournament's been fun to do. Yeah, man. The first day we had some snafus with the sound, but I mean, yeah, it was a little bit scary day one, but ever since then it has been seamless. The games have been fantastic. Even on day one, the games are fantastic. Yeah. You know, that's one thing that you could always trust with StarCraft II is like maybe sometimes like you're gonna have issues like the audio system breaks down, but the games are always gonna be good. The games never stop getting better. I think this series is going to be part of that because we have, spawning in the top left, the reigning GSL champion. It is Classic. And the bottom left, Reynor. Yeah, so finally not a mirror matchup here. And to be honest, it was really weird. And it's all Gemini's fault, but we had so many mirror matchups in this tournament. I can't believe. It's like we wished the success of this tournament on a cursed monkey's paw. Like, I mean, we had more mirror matchups than I could ever have imagined in this group section. But regardless, the games have still been great. But it's nice to finally get back into like a PvZ here. Yeah, and the spread that we're going to have for the round of 8 playoff bracket should be pretty good too. I feel like we have, I want to say maybe 2 of each race already, if not very close to it. So it's going to be a very even distribution moving on in the tournament, and I'm excited as things progress on. I think that the games are just going to keep getting better. I'm so stoked. I sound like such a nerd talking about this. Like, oh, the games are so good, guys are going to get better, but they really are.
I mean, no, this is like one of the things. You know, we were obviously here in RSL, but when we were doing GSL just a couple days ago, it's like, yeah, man, well, the games, you know, we still have insane games coming out of StarCraft II, games you can't even recreate, right? I mean, this is the beauty of RTS, is that there's so many different scenarios you can get into, right? You can have a game that is under 6 minutes and is completely explosive and a nail biter, or you can have this like crazy hour-long, drawn-out, like we're gonna mine out the map, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing more fun than seeing the different kinds of RTS games you can get here. So in this game, Classic has gone for a fast expand. He's getting his cybernetic score. And I'm assuming this is just going to be Stargate into a 3rd Nexus, and it's going to be a lot of macro play. And with Reynor, it's going to be a little bit before we see exactly what kind of tech he wants to go for, unless he does some kind of crazy all-in.
Yeah. This is a series that has a potential to go really long, because Classic, what he showcased in the GSL finals, I think, except for one game where he did the Farmy, which is a 1-gas robo all-in with like mass zealots. Besides that, he was playing the most standard, safe, cookie-cutter approach of PvZ. I think most of the games were probably, unless I'm mistaken, 6K +1 Blink and Storm, and then just gearing up for a late game, and he looked basically unbreakable. He was not afraid to throw down tons of static defense, shield batteries, photon cannons, spreading his Templar, just making sure that he's effectively impossible to kill. And Reynor is one of these players who does have the confidence to actually go into a late game scenario against somebody like Classic II. I don't think that we're going to be expecting him to basically just try and barrel down the front door and end the game outright.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, I think a little bit of a misclick there for Classic.
Yeah. And so this Adept's going to go down, and it's going to be 3 orange drones right now. A little bit of misclicking there from Classic. So that Oracle's going to come out. You can see right now Reynor's basically checking to see what's going to be leaving the base. The Lings are just going to run right in.
Yeah, I guess they are.
Where is the blocker?
He's coming back down. He was late to the party.
Yeah. And Ling speed's done. This is annoying.
Yeah, luckily there are no more Lings coming, but maybe 1 or 2 probes are going to fall. Already one gets taken out as the Oracle reaches the main base here of Reynor. Is going to move on down into the natural expansion, try and get some more damage done. But the Queen positioning very nice here from the Italian Zerg, able to quickly shoo that away. And these Lings are still causing trouble. Is this J-Dog in the booth right now? What's going on?
Yeah, he's doing a decent amount of damage just getting those kills. It's super annoying when you're Protoss and this happens, because like, everything's supposed to be so streamlined that when, you know, Lings are hiccuping workers, oh my god, he gets another one?
Yeah, this is idle time and 3 dead probes for 4 Lings. That is a great trade for Reynor.
No, that's insane value. It can be hard to appreciate how much you lose in that moment, because even just like stopping the probes from mining and making them reset and then making them run away, I mean, the whole thing is, it's pretty painful. Behind this, we got some more droning up. The Oracles went about halfway down the map. And we're going to see if he's going to try to come in and maybe shoot down a couple drones here. There's Adepts coming as well, so there is going to be a little bit of a counter punch here. The question is going to be, how ready is Reynor for this?
He's well equipped to deal with the Oracles. I'm not sure how many Lings we have left, and the answer, it looks like, is basically just enough. He has this nice pair. 10 more are going to be finishing up, and so these Adepts, they might be able to slow down the creep spread a little bit, and honestly, you're probably still going to try and trade these out as Classic, but you're not going to get the big damage done that you're likely hoping for.
Yeah, he drives that back a little bit. And we have melee attack coming down here now for Reynor. Don't know if this is going to do that much. These Queens are in a really far forward position. There's Lings ready for a counterattack. Looks like he's going to send some to the main. Oh my god.
He's got to put a Spore Crawler in that door, man.
Yeah, Protoss needed a door. Artosis was right.
Lings are going to come right back down to the 3rd base, probably not expecting the natural expansion to be wide open again. Classic just now warping in a Stalker to bottle that up. God, can you imagine if those Lings just ran right back into the main or the natural expansion? It'd be such a headache here for Classic.
Yeah. 2 times now Classic's basically had his entrance open, which is kind of wild. We've got more gateways coming down here. The 3rd base is really kicking in right now for Classic. He's getting Blink and Attack as well. And Zerg's taking the 4th base. You know, on this map, you basically have 4 bases that hug either the top or the bottom, depending on where you are. And it's honestly the 4th base that Reynor's taking here. It's pretty hard to actually like deny. Like that base is so far away from where the Protoss can attack from that I almost don't know if it's worth trying to go down there and hit it.
These Oracles have gotten really nothing done. One of them just falling right now to a great queen surround there by Reynor as Classic is powering up to what we basically expected from him from the onset, which is 6 gates plus 1 Blink and Storm, adding in additional gateways now, and the Robo is continuing to power up. And normally as Classic, you're expecting it to be doing this from a little bit of a better position. You know, you're hoping that your Oracles get a couple more drone kills. You're hoping that those 4 depths you made earlier on, you're able to trade those out relatively efficiently, maybe take down 3 or 4 drones with them. So far, Reynor's been doing a very good job of carrying everything the Classic is throwing at him, and part of that is because of those Link counterattacks. And look at this, Tasteless. He's taking the gold base.
Yeah, I like the gold base there. You know, I don't know if that's going to be checked. We've had a lot of games where people kind of rush into that gold base and try to take it. We got to see if Classic's going to look there or not. But right now, Reynor, I mean, he's got not only that, he's got 5 bases on the bottom here, and then that gold base on the far right. So like, Reynor is just rushing into these expansions. Lings are going to come down. I think you want to just try to generate threats here, try to keep Protoss back. He has another group of Lings at the bottom, right over here. And you know, if Protoss leaves either the 3rd or 4th base unattended, he's going to go in there and try to punish that.
Depth gets surrounded here on the top right. We've cleaned up very quickly. And it looks like, just judging by the production tab, Reynor does have the pieces. If he wanted to get set up for some kind of lurker late game, he could. But I think before that happens, he's probably going to try his luck with something like a Hydra Ling Bane timing attack. +2 melee is getting queued up. Baneling's speed is also being researched. As Reynor, maybe a little bit ambitious moving out before all these key upgrades finish, is going to get caught by Classic. A lot of units are shaved off, and it's actually Classic with these additional gateways and the Prism who's going to be doing some damage.
Okay, so we've got the gold base. Look, Zerg can part ways with this expansion. Okay, like this is, you know, you're going to be fine with that if you have the gold base and you're taking everything there. And I think Reynor's going to basically try to set up a surround. He's got stuff on the bottom. We don't quite have any of it on camera, but if you look at the mini-map, you'll see he's ready to try to sandwich this.
Yeah, there's forces in the natural in the 3rd base, and then also just roaming around the center of the map where Reynor's trying to keep the elements of surprise. Hydra speed is done now. +1 range weapon is going to be finished very soon here for Reynor, but still a little bit away is Baneling's speed. I'm not sure how many Banelings we actually have in the mix already here for Reynor, and it feels like he's not super confident in exactly what the potential of his attack is going to be. Of course, being maxed, you're going to go for it here as Reynor, but he's already getting set up for the next stage. He's adding in the Infestation Pit to go into Hive, and meanwhile, Classic, he's doing the same thing. He has his eyes set on the late game, adding in the Fleet Beacon and the 2nd Stargate.
Yeah, we're getting into a pretty epic macro game here, but I think Reynor's going to be striking first. Oh my god, this Archon somehow lives. Literally lost all its shields and then barely gets away. But there's going to be a lot of damage coming out here. I don't know if Classic's going to be able to do much to activate himself. The Warp Prism's at the very, very bottom left. I don't know if it's going to get in there or not. It looks like, oh my god, those are incredible storms to have. Completely denies the Banelings.
Yeah, now Reynor's going to be coming into the triangle base. Warp Prism does get taken out in the main base of Reynor. In the meantime, these Banelings are going to be fishing for these probes a little bit, roaming in, able to take down double digits. As the armory, it's starting to peter out a little bit here for Reynor. He's taking some very good trades. Probably even going to get this Nexus as the Hydras, yes, are going to try and focus it down. Oh, no way. Is it actually going to survive those Lings?
Why is it not attacking the Nexus? I can't believe that.
Oh, no, the Lings, they didn't stay on the Nexus. It's going to survive with just 74 HP.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Insane to me.
The income differential could be so much greater if that Nexus had fallen.
Well, if he had killed the Nexus, I mean, I think the next wind-up and attack would be huge. Now, he's going to go for it again anyways. In fact, Classic may just end this game again anyways here. Now, the Nexus is not going to regain shields in time for it to be meaningful, if that makes sense. Like, he's going to have to basically have his army in front of this because any damage over there is going to be fatal for that Nexus.
Yeah, with no static defense, it becomes so much harder to actually defend this position here for Classic as Reynor finally will take down that Nexus. Behind this, Classic, he's starting a transition into carriers. +1 air weapons and shields also being researched. Now, carriers, they play very different from Tempest. When you make carriers in a situation like this one as Classic, you're kind of looking for a fight. The Tempest are these units that are very slow, have a very long range. They like to try and chip away at the Zerg army in a long, protracted battle.
Right.
With carriers, you kind of want an explosive fight here as Classic, but it's almost like he's limping into that stage, having lost that 4th base. It is setting him back a ton.
Okay, nice storm, gonna drive him back. Remember that, you know, Protoss is eventually gonna have to push out and kill the Zerg here, and we're so far away from that right now. Like, Reynor's just so overwhelmingly present on this side of the map. It's extremely tough to deal with. He does get the block this time. And the Lings are gonna have to run back here, but like, yeah, Reynor's just continuing to grow. This gold base has never been scouted. I mean, at this point in time, Classic's like barely been able to get on the map.
Ooh, and it's Ultralisk Den going down for Reynor. Gonna move in again, spot this Nexus. And yeah, he actually got the cancel.
Yeah.
He can.
Well, I think at this point in time, you can trade inefficiently. You just want him to be on 3 bases forever. Like the natural's gonna mine out, the 3rd base is gonna mine out eventually. And you know, at this point in time, Reynor's getting deep pockets. Like, he's maxed out, or like will be in a second, but his income is spiking up.
It's an interesting position, though, because the standing army for Classic is powerful. These trades haven't been very efficient for Reynor, even though he was able to take down that 4th base and hamper the income of Classic quite a bit. There is an edge case scenario where Reynor comes in with another attack because he is maxed, but he doesn't have the critical units like those Ultras, which he just built the Ultras Cavern for. And Classic is able to take a big victory with these carriers and ride that momentum just to a game-ending counterattack. I feel like if I'm Classic in this position, that's kind of what I have on my mind, is let's just take this next fight as clean as possible and see what we can do with the army that is left over. And for Reynor, it's kind of like he's going to be trying to... Oh, he's actually just going to go for counterattacks. I like this a lot because you kind of want to shave some of this supply away to make room for other units before this next engagement. And he is already getting into position to try and pull Classic apart with these Lings while also posturing in front of the 4th base again.
Okay, he's running up here again with these Lings. Nice. Actually, some of the best storms ever on Lings that I've seen. Completely shuts that down, so there's no counterplay there for him.
60 Lings falling to those 3 storms.
That was insane.
Well, he did have 1 carrier get abducted during all of that, but still, 5 carriers with +1 air weapons and shields is a strong force in the sky.
The Protoss is basically done, like, getting each of the pieces of the puzzle here. We've got 1 more Archon Morphine, and that's going to be basically it for the army. Maybe we'll have to get another one after that, but all Reynor wants to do is keep counterattacking. Reynor has so much of the map, it's insane. The Zealots are now going to see this gold base. This gold base is almost mined out, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, even if Classic had known, though, earlier on, he hasn't really been in a position to do anything about it until, frankly, this moment. This is really the first time that he's maxed out. He's like, okay, I can't afford to throw some Zealots across map and try and get some damage done. So he's going to send in another group of Zealots here to this gold base, which, as Tasteless said, is mining out. Meanwhile, he is gunning for just 1 fight. He knows that Reynor probably has a bank. If he can take a decisive victory right now and make it difficult for Reynor to remax, this could be a Classic win still.
I mean, if Classic's going to do this, he has to do it with what he's got now. This is an extremely sophisticated army. He's basically been building up to get this the entire game. We have a couple small Ling run-bys here to basically keep him back. And you can see now with the extra minerals, he's just going to throw down a lot of cannons here. I mean, you might as well just have enough to defend this while still pushing.
And Classic actually going to retreat fully. Will he push again on the map? It seems like he is. That supply freeing up for Reynor is going to translate into 4 Ultras joining this force. And let's not forget that these small groups of Lings with adrenal glands, with their melee upgrades, have been able to pick up some Immortals, some key infrastructure here for Classic as well. Static defense has been going down. Rogues have been falling. 10 more are going to go down right now in this moment. These Ultras, they're quite good against the army that Classic has right now. It's really just the Archons and the 1 Immortal that are going to pack a big punch into them. So, you know, Reynor, these trades, they aren't very efficient, but he's, again, hindering the income of his opponent, and he's fine-tuning his composition to be even better versus what Classic's got.
Right. And so, you know, now it's going to be a lot more Corruptors coming out here. He basically had to trade some of these Lings out and Banes out to get the next tier of units, which is going to be a lot of these Ultralisks. We see the Corruptors hatching right now. Meanwhile, Classic has this slow drip of zealots that he's just sending out to various parts of the map, like this gold base, to clean this out. And honestly, not the best move to, use Banelings to try to clean that up, but I guess you take what you can get. Meanwhile, the push is coming out here from Classic.
Classic is only 60 probes, and he is nearly maxed. A ton of upgrades are finishing, including +2 air weapons, which is going to make every single interceptor so much more effective. Classic is going to try and win this game in basically one punch. He wants a knockout blow. He wants to basically neutralize the bank of Reynor by just having a decisive battle where he wins absolutely everything. This army is so massive, Tasteless. It's all going to come down to this fight.
He's coming in now, and these Corruptors are on top of these carriers here. Storms are coming down. It's not clear what's actually happening on the ground. I can't quite tell. Okay, so the Archons and everything else the Classic had did drive that away. Now, Reynor is remaxing, okay? But the push is coming through here. He's going to take this hatchery out. He can then go right down to the bottom right, and it's going to be a flattened Reynor if Reynor can't stop this.
That victory was so decisive. Reynor has one more shot. He's remaxing on 8 more Ultras. Corruptors are coming in. These key upgrades for Reynor, they are not going to be done by the time this game is decided. Classic, he's continuing to max out. I mean, 54 workers. This army is absolutely massive. Reynor has to wait until these extra Ultras are done before he can go in for the engagement. But Classic's been already able to take down 2 additional bases. This hatchery is going to go down as well. The armies that you have on screen are effectively the armies that are going to decide the fate of this game. There's no more mining happening on Reynor's side of the map. Classic, he does have some more incremental income coming in, even with just 54 workers. And he's actually just going to recall. This is so smart, Tasteless.
So funny.
He knows this is a win condition. He just has to defend.
Yeah, he's got some of his stuff still back here. The recall isn't encompassing enough to take everything home. And Reynor might try to punish that by coming in here and trying to kill this off. But, Classic's now relocating. And Reynor just doesn't really have anything economically. I mean, if you look at his minerals at the bottom of the screen, it's abysmal. Drones, long-distance mining, and now, Classic doesn't have to do anything, right? He can just stay back and defend these expansions and then wind up and do another attack like that.
All right, Raider's going to attack in again, but there's almost no support for these Ultras in Classic. That was a rough early game, a rough mid game, but he was able to navigate it to a victory. And it all came down to that one decisive battle. He had a very low worker count, so the army was absolutely massive there. And we all saw that there weren't that many Immortals on the ground to deal with the Ultras.
Yeah.
But we had so many Archons. That was like a screen worth of Archon. And also carriers, once they get that +2 air weapons, they actually start to deal a lot of damage versus literally everything.
Yes. I mean, it really was like the ultimate endgame composition. For most of that game, Reynor looked unstoppable, but Classic basically just stayed back and stayed patient and just kind of finished all the tasks he had to finish on his side of the map. And eventually it's like you have this army that's like, it's really hard to touch, right? You've got all these carriers, there's Archons underneath that, you've got enough storms, you can blanket whole areas of where the Zerg would try to come in from. And then it's like just this death ball that goes from location to location, wiping it out. You don't care about a counterattack, because if you take out all the Zerg's bases, you can go back home, you just wait. If they try to expand and rebuild again, okay, fine, then we'll go back out and do the same thing. But you can basically sack your side of the map in that situation and still pull through with a push. So I love the recall at the end. It was smart. And you can see Reynor's like, oh, I guess I don't really have any way to win this game. Yeah, that was beautifully done. It's a hard way to win. What Classic did.
Yeah, you basically just need to survive. He was so close to being knocked down when that 4th base just kept getting shut down, and then the remaking of the 4th base kept getting canceled.
All right, guys, we're going to go into game 2 here. Classic on the right and Reynor on the left here.
Oh, on Kill Switch. Okay. One of the fan-voted maps here in the RSL. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, this is another thing, for those of you that don't know, with certain Patreon tiers, fans can, or Patreon supporters, can vote on maps, as well as guest spots for players. So it's just kind of a fun way, if you're supporting this, you get a voice.
Yeah, Kill Switch is one of these very interesting maps. It was in the Team Look at Map contest, but didn't make it into the map pool. There is a second entrance into both of these main bases with a mineral wall, kind of similar to, I'm blanking on the name. I know it's like the name of a Swedish train station or something. Radhuset station? I don't know how to
Oh, I'm
pronounce it.
not sure. I'm
yeah,
not
but
sure.
it's the one with the screen full of minerals, basically, that blocked in the natural expansion. On this map, it's the main base that has that. You see another one here right by the natural expansion. And so there's a couple of openings that you can choose to, you know, basically unlock by mining them out with your workers. We're gonna have to wait and see exactly how these players decide to use it, because I'm not sure how many games they have on a map like Kill Switch. So we have that the gold wall here pointed out.
Yeah, so, you know, maps like this, sometimes you end up with a game that just looks completely normal, but there is always the possibility that there's some kind of crazy strategy or cheese or something that could give us a really exciting, unique moment here. For now, Classic is just going for an expand build. Same with Reynor. We've got that cybernetics core started.
Yeah, it's a really interesting setup, just the way that the bases are laid out with those minerals, and we'll see if the players are going to put them to use. As it is right now, Reynor just kind of developing normally, and Classic doing the same thing back at home. Adding in that pylon, the second gas geyser as well. I'm expecting, just because it's basically been every single PvZ game that he's played for the past couple of weeks, to see Classic open up again with the Oracle, with the second gateway, the third base, and go into 6 gate plus 1 blink and storm.
So we've got that first adept being chrono boosted out here. And Reynor, you know, he went toe-to-toe with Classic in like kind of the ultimate endgame fashion. I'm curious if Reynor's going to play in some kind of style to make that not possible. You know what I mean? Like, you know, no one says you have to complete the entire tech tree in StarCraft and mine all the bases out, right? I mean, you are more than welcome to do aggression or cheese or something like that. Honestly, in that last game, I thought that Reynor was probably going to win when he took that 4th Nexus out. It just felt like he was so strong, but Classic basically stuck to his guns. It just kept building a more and more complex symbiotic army. There just wasn't much that he could do.
Yeah, it's the kind of army where you're really grateful that you opted to go for carriers instead of Tempest, because if you're trying to play the protracted long game of the Tempest, where you're just getting in shot after shot after shot and slowing down the Zerg machine and trying to just absorb your side of the map and play the end game that way, you're never going to have that one explosive fight the same way that Classic was able to do with those 5 or 6 carriers that he had with +2 air weapons. There's just so much firepower in that fleet, so Classic did a very good job of navigating it. But I will say, here on Kill Switch, it feels like, should Reynor decide to play another Hydra Ling Bane style, I think that this map is, the structure's a little bit better for executing that kind of attack. I feel like you can really get some momentum going just because of the layout of the 3rd and the 4th base. I mean, it's quite wide open, isn't it? Especially with the rocks here that you can take down. The 4th base also, you have to effectively expand towards your opponent.
So we've got that Nexus started over here. 3 base to 3 base right now. Very curious to see what army movement's going to look like on this map. Like, this is my first cast for this map, so whenever I'm on a new map, I'm like trying to get a sense of, you know, what it feels like when you're trying to engage with each other. But you know, we should point out that the 3rd bases for both sides, they're pretty close to each other compared to a lot of other maps. So it'll be interesting to see if, you know, one side is a little bit weaker to the other because there's some kind of a timing push.
Oracle so far for Classic doing a little bit more damage than they did there in game number 1, but nothing too substantial. And actually, will be Reynor mining out these gold minerals. So he's going to have the in-base Zelnaga Tower for some added vision, and it looks like he's probably going to be expanding down into this bottom left side of the map.
Yeah, it looks like it, clearing those minerals out. I always thought that was such a cool, creative way to change the structure of a map, is to make mineral walls in spots where it's like, or you know, it's like the destructible rocks, right? But then this has to be taken out with workers versus being taken out with, you know, damage as an example. So the 4th hatchery is actually going to be up here. And, you know, for now we've got melee damage coming down for both sides. The Baneling's Nest has started. And it's just going to be a very tech-heavy game. This is one where, you know, everybody's on both sides just trying to get all the building blocks they need. 5 gateways are being made here.
Yeah, it's changing quite a bit.
He might actually do a small push here.
I think he's planning on it, but it looks like Reynor is also looking to do a Baneling bust on the 3rd Nexus of Classic. He has been making Lings basically non-stop for the past few minutes, and Classic is setting up a proxy pylon right here. Eventually that Zelnaga Tower will get unlocked, and Reynor's gonna be able to spot it with that, should he choose to. But Reynor's only on 50 drones. When Cyril did this at Bellum Gens Elite, I believe he had something like 54 or 56 drones, so this is gonna pack a wall up. should Reynor decide to go for the attack, but you know, Reynor doesn't even really need to move across the map and try and bust down Classic. It's Classic who's almost setting up for an attack into him, right? We have Blink +1, even more gateways going down right now.
I wonder if Reynor's going to regret mining this out.
He might.
I mean, can you just imagine warping in like 10 charge lots and just sending them into the main, and the kind of chaos that's going to create?
I think it would be fine if Reynor was already taking these bases here in the bottom, but that's neither here nor there. As Classic is already pushing in the center. That one queen through transfusion is going to somehow stay alive. And Reynor, he now knows what kind of game he's playing. This is a lot of pressure being levied by Classic. He is not going into Storm. He's not going into a fast fourth base. He wants to get some damage right now. That stasis trap triggering on a ton of these links, basically forming a shield, especially with the slowdown zone just to the south of it. And now Reynor, he's going to come into the third base with these banelings. Is Classic watching?
He's going to come in here, and this is going to wipe out every single probe at that expansion. Meanwhile, Classic's continuing to put the pressure on. He's not done yet, but man, this counterattack from Reynor is just brutal.
Yeah, that counterattack almost certainly going to be able to take down the third Nexus in addition to the whole mineral line. Classic can see he's trying to run back up. Oh man, even catching the queen on the high ground with that stasis trap, but there are just so many lings with +1 melee. The Oracles went back home to try and deal with the situation there, and now these Stalkers, they're all by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a punish. There's so many lings that are hunting those Stalkers down. And Classic is limping through this game at this point in time. The proxy gateway hasn't even really been used. It's been a bit of a dud here. In fact, it's going to be spotted by these lings, so this is no longer going to be a factor in this game right now. But, Reynor seems to be big enough. I don't know that Classic can really do anything.
A lot of it's going to come down to control. Classic basically needs to win with his Stalker Ball right now. He is not rebuilding a third base. Let's keep in mind that Reynor, he committed a lot to this. His word count's been low, so he doesn't have a lot of resources to play around with. He has to dodge these stasis traps. He has to be very careful about these Oracles as Classic keeps pushing in once again.
And you can see now the Stalkers are going to try to back up a little bit. The Lings are going to come in here for another surround. They don't quite get the angle. He actually sets off the stasis ward. And remember that the Oracles, they can just throw down another stasis trap again and again. So there's going to be this tug of war over here on this side of the map. And the Queens are starting to get thinned out. The drones are getting pulled. It's just going to be the most insane Stalker push that just barely allows Classic to do this. Classic's just making Stalkers back at home. It's going to be non-stop Stalker movement coming in here. The Lings set off the stasis ward again. The hatchery goes down.
Yeah, the hatchery goes down. It feels like Classic just has this critical mass of Stalkers where Reynor can never get the damage done fast enough to get to Stalkers with Blink on cooldown, right? Like, Classic, he's gonna blink the first row of Stalkers back, then the second row, the third row. By the time that Reynor is getting to the ones where he can actually deal meaningful damage, the cooldown's already up. You're not actually getting hull damage in on any of these Stalkers. Look at the HP bars. Only a couple of them are in the yellow or in the orange. And Classic, with his control, it is just a wall of units that the Zerglings cannot get through. We're adding some Hydras now into the mix, which is some much needed range DPS. But Reynor's got no surface area up until this point. Classic is breaking through.
They're just, that's it, GG. That was so sick.
Wow.
Ooh. I want to run around the block. I want to just lay down, just start bench pressing stuff. I'm just, it was so sick. I love the way that ended. I thought he was actually totally screwed.
Yeah, he was completely all in.
Yeah, but it's like there's just enough Stalkers. Lings are kind of the worst thing in that moment because they'll get up there, they'll do damage, but the Stalkers can always blink behind them, right? And some of those Stalkers that get all the way in the back, some of their shields are going to regen. You know what I mean? You just start to have like enough damage that it snowballs the fight. Whew. Sick.
Yeah, that was good. An electric series.
Guys, listen up, all right? Whatever stupid clothes you're wearing at home, knock it off, okay? And start buying some RSL merchandise. We've got hoodies, we've got t-shirts. We don't have underpants yet, but we have mugs, okay? And I know you probably drink some liquids, so you can put your liquids in that. If you're a Patreon supporter, it's 20% off. What? That's right. 20% off.
It's like the 4 a.m. infomercial that comes on after
That's
the
such a good deal.
It's the infomercial that comes on after the cartoons and stop playing as a kid, and you're just like, I guess I'll watch this because this is on TV right now. But yeah, if you want to support the RSL, check us out on Patreon, and of course, if you're a patron member, you do get 20% off on all of those, that great merchandise. In addition to just the traditional Tasteless Threads merch too, you got like the APM the APM, like the wrist X-ray and all these other cool shit.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff on there. I think you'll like it. And why don't you check that out while we go on this break? Because when we come back, we're going to go to the losers match, another PVZ. We'll see you in a little bit. Thank you for waiting, everybody. We're back, and we're ready now to go into this losers match. Scarlett versus ShoWTimE coming up.
Yeah, the elimination match here in Group D. One of them is going to move on to face Reynor in the final match to decide who's going to make it out alongside Classic, and one of them is going to be out of the RSL tasteless.
Yeah, Scarlett was pretty sick in her games earlier. I was very excited to see that she's in great condition. ShoWTimE looking very strong as well, though. This should be an interesting one. Yeah, I'm just excited to get this game started here. I don't know. Do you think there's a clear favorite here?
I feel like it has to be ShoWTimE just because his PBZ is so safe and rock solid, and it feels like Scarlett is mostly kind of throwing curveballs today. We had 2 12 pools in a row versus Reynor and some really cool tactics.
Now, is Scarlett in a construction site?
Yeah, wait, what is going on?
She might be in a sauna right now.
Huh.
So, Scarlett versus ShoWTimE. Remember, guys, the loser is out right now. So this is it.
Yeah.
We had an incredible series back there with Classic. I still can't stop thinking about it. That was just such a great game, too. Classic actually managing to just snowball that game with the stalker push. That was so cool.
He just finally reached this breaking point where there's so many stalkers that the Lings literally can do nothing. It was pretty cool. Like, he's up against the ropes. Reynor is, winding up to try and end the game on 50 drones with just Lings and Banelings.
Yeah.
I kind of was just expecting him to keep doing the same thing that he did in the GSL finals, and he's done in other PBZ games in the past where he does the same kind of, frankly, boring, like 6K Blink, +1, Storm, we play defensive, we take a 4th base, we had a 2nd Stargate, we get a Tempest. It's very, it's like a railroad track that you go down.
It's a slow cook of a victory build. Yeah.
It's a slow cook, and so I like him mixing it up like this. That made the game very exciting, and ShoWTimE's another one of these guys who, He doesn't do it the same way as Classic. He has and I hope we get some macro games between ShoWTimE and Scarlett because I would love to talk about this some more. But ShoWTimE, one of the exciting things about his approach to PBZ is that generally speaking, he has a ton of different builds that all look the exact same up until a certain point. And then there's just the wildest thing that comes at you. Like, it'll look like a normal build. He'll warp in stalkers on the front line to make it seem like he's going Blink, and then there's just a ton of +1 charge lots flowing into all of your bases, and he completely decapitates your eco.
Those are sometimes the scariest builds, where you have it can look like anything, but then you have 6 different ways you could tech out into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so our game is now loading up. This is going to be game 1 here of ShoWTimE versus Scarlett. The loser is going to be knocked out, and the winner is going to go up against Reynor here to decide who's going to survive in 2nd place here for Group D.
Yeah, let's get to it, man. ShoWTimE, the red Protoss spawning in the bottom left, and Scarlett the blue Zerg in the top right. Are we going to have another cheesy game from Scarlett, or are we going to have an honorable macro game between these two?
Yeah, let's see. I mean, Scarlett had some pretty aggro builds here. But, time will tell, obviously. We have the first scouting probe coming across the map here for a scout and a hatchery block if it's going to be hatch first.
It seems like, we have a pause.
I'm lagging. I thought for some reason when I read that, I thought he said, I'm gagging. And I was like, oh my God, he's gagging. We just get him on camera and go, someone get over there.
We turn the player cams on. He's just choking on a bottle of water.
He's just choking on an orange or something.
He's just typing it out while he's choking.
I can't breathe.
It's a man's last moments are just shown on stream.
So funny. Okay, so I think we're going to go back into the game. That's funny.
Yeah, let's get back to it. I like Scarlett's I'm lagging. Unlucky.
Yeah,
Skill
unlucky.
issue.
Yeah, it sounds like a PC issue. Sounds like an internet issue.
Yeah, hopefully things will clear out. As we can see on the webcam, he is not in fact gagging. He is fine.
Yeah.
His posture is perfect as ever.
Yeah, his pasture's pretty good too.
Yeah, it's got a lot of cattle.
Yeah.
We're running a little farm there.
So, what was I saying a second ago?
I don't know. It was some PBZ stuff.
I thought that ShoWTimE was gagging.
Proxy hatch? Oh, it's barely going to get shut down. Oh, man. Scarlett was at 264 minerals when she wanted to build that hatchery. It's 275.
Okay.
And I think this... I don't know if that actually blocks the...
No, that doesn't block.
I think it doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't block it.
Man, you are so confident. I'm impressed right now.
I'm so confident in my life. Even as I said it, I was like, man, I'm kind of
Yeah, that's... Wow.
I'm just burning with this confidence in that absolute. I'm like, oh no, Ryan, stay. Don't even say that. You're wrong. You're wrong, and you're making yourself look very foolish right now. And I've got this covered. Okay.
Cool. Well, this is kind of an interesting situation we have going on right now because the Nexus clearly, as Tazo said, foresaw, was not blocked, as he clearly saw. But this means that we don't really have anything shutting down this hatchery that early. And the pull isn't particularly fast. It will be finishing around the same time as this hatchery in the natural expansion of ShoWTimE. But Scarlett is droning. So what are we going to have? Like, is this hatchery going to make like a queen? Are we going to have a creep tumor in the natural expansion here of ShoWTimE? Are we going to get Lings going into the main base? I think that's basically guaranteed to happen. But the fact that it hasn't been canceled.
Yeah, so, I mean, let's see what she can do with this. You know, this was slowed down enough that, you know, the whole momentum of the rush should be pretty awkward here. Does feel to me like a rush like this. Are we not going to have anything made? Okay. Last second, the Lings were started there.
It's a dirty Nexus, isn't it?
Yeah, no, look, yeah, right. The creep is going on the Nexus. I kind of forgot that actually happens in this game because we never really get to see it. So Lings are going to be hatching here, but there's already 2 Adepts. And the Lings can't quite accumulate in numbers. He's going to send 2 into the main. And another Zealot's going to be made to probably cork the entrance. So that the Adepts can just keep, over time, damaging this. We're going to have 1 Overlord come out here now.
I think just trying to get any value you possibly can out of this hatchery makes sense here for Scarlett. Overlord, unless, although ShoWTimE is one of these players that loves to go Oracle Phoenix Oracle as part of, you know, the masking of the macro build, although we might not see that today.
Okay, so this is a pretty disastrous game, honestly, from Scarlett. In my head, I was kind of like, well, maybe she can, no, or maybe, you know, but it's like, no, this is just going really quite badly.
I was kind of flabbergasted that it did not get canceled after the Nexus went down. I feel like that's really the value that you get out of this hatchery is that you force the Protoss player to either pull probes to try and deal with it and derails their build, or I don't know. This is just it's gonna fall. I think Ling speed is done, unless I'm mistaken. So these Lings do have the potential to be very annoying, but there aren't many more Lings on the map. Lings are gonna get us around on one of these Zealots. Speedling's gonna sprint their way on into the main base and try and pick off at least a couple of probes.
And I mean, from this point on, Scarlett's just playing from behind, basically. Didn't get any kills on those probes there. The last pair of Lings is going to hatch, and this creep is going to be gone. And I mean, there's no pretty way to paint this picture. Like, Scarlett's just going to be playing from such a deficit. This should be a pretty easy game from the Protoss' perspective.
Yeah, if there's anything going in Scarlett's favor, is that this is a very weird situation for ShoWTimE.
True, yeah. This is not exactly like the games you practice for, right?
But so he might play a little bit suboptimally, but just looking at the stats right now, I much prefer ShoWTimE's position, especially with all these Adepts coming cross-map. We almost have more Adepts than Zerglings right now at this moment.
Yeah, it's actually a crazy thought. Yeah, 7 Adepts and 9 Lings, now 13. But yeah, let's see how much damage that he can get off here. Remember that the Oracles can just melt Zerglings. The Queens can fight the Oracles, but they're not. Oh god, he's gonna go right into the main. This is so brutal. 3 Oracles here. Booby traps being laid. He's gonna try to trigger that. Does end up getting a couple Lings there.
Yeah, Adepts now able to work their way into this mineral line. Shade is gonna pop down at the 3rd base. No Lings to be found there. Ling production was cut quite a bit as Scarlett was trying to make up for lost ground with some heavy droning. There are now 28 Lings in production as these drones taking the long route away, trying to run from those Adepts.
This is a pretty painful interruption of mining here. And Scarlett doesn't have great control of the situation. The Oracles are going to stay far in the back. I think these okay, that might be a mistake actually from ShoWTimE. But you know, honestly, this is actually pretty crazy because I guess you have that wall behind you, so you can't get totally surrounded. And Oracles can just melt Lings like we're seeing here now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a cost-efficient trade by any means, but the Adepts, they got their job done already, right? You know, Scarlett is on the path to stabilizing. 7 Adepts for 33 Lings and 4 drones is quite nice there.
So the 4th hatchery has finished. It's over here at the very top, just above the 3rd base of the Protoss. And so the Adepts, I mean, look, they caused a little bit of chaos back there. They forced some workers to run away. And, you know, now we're going to go back into kind of more proper development here for Protoss. We've got the Forge upgrading, Blink is coming along, the Robo's there, the Templar Archives, everything else that the Protoss needs to make a more sophisticated army later on.
Yeah, it's all the basic building blocks of a Protoss macro game here for ShoWTimE, and he's going into it in just a terrific position. This Oracle is going to spot the 4th base for Scarlett over here at the 11 o'clock position, and even the creep spread got slowed down a little bit there. Scarlett is one of those Zergs, though, who is just usually so on point with the creep spread, not unlike Reynor. She has been able to make up for some of that lost ground, but just looking at the economy right now, full 3-base saturation here for ShoWTimE with those 6 casters on 66 workers. The Stalkers are getting some damage done right now. The Link counterattack is getting thwarted by a Photon Cannon, Oracle back at home, Zealots being morphed in. And that stasis trap got a lot of lings.
That was perfect. That stun was huge. And we had a few more lings get shaved off back there. Some more Zealots are warping in. And this is probably going to be another game where we're going to see a push out towards the 4th base. It looks like ShoWTimE wanted to start the Nexus over here at 6, but was denied that.
Scarlett's going to try and transition from this position into Hive Tech Lurkers. I'm not sure if ShoWTimE is going to let her get there. He's starting a Warp Prism right now. 4th base is going to finally be secured. Additional Photon Cannons are being thrown down right now, I believe, at the 3rd base. And with more Templar warping in, we're about to have the Warp Prism on the map with +2 ground weapons. Nearing completion, charge gonna be done. And a lot of energy on these Templar before those Hive Tech Lurkers come in. If ShoWTimE decides to move cross-map and try and get some damage done, there is a lot of potential to take down bases, to take down eco. This is a real moment of vulnerability right now for Scarlett.
Yeah. I mean, the army is looking pretty scary right now. A counterattack, I think, is a good idea, by the way. But it looks like the Oracles are going to see these lings over here. I think the Zealots actually might not be enough. Like, there's a lot of lings in this counterattack.
That's a max energy Templar, though.
Oh, that's true.
That's why we don't see that energy bar. There's a lot of storms.
Yeah, the storms are actually pretty perfect there. And so this push, I mean, up at the 4th base, is there anything even defending this? So this is just going to be an expansion. Scarlett's basically going to give this up. There's also a 5th base at that kind of triangle expo position.
And this hatchery is going to get taken down behind it. ShoWTimE, he's also setting up for the late game.
So there's lurkers here. Probably enough lurkers that you can't really run into that. Oh my gosh, this is just not going well for Scarlett. So what ShoWTimE's going to do is loop all the way around. Oh, I think, is this going to be a storm drop, perhaps?
Oh, it might be.
And there's a Nidus network being made.
I like that move a lot.
I actually really like this. I almost forgot about, like, the Nidus worm in general. Like, we haven't had that many games that we've casted where it's been used. And maybe, you know, I see an Overlord hidden, like, at the bottom center, just, like, to the left side of the 6 o'clock base. Maybe Scarlett can throw down a Nidus worm there and just, you know, carve out the inside of ShoWTimE's main.
All right, so it is going to be Zealots dropped over here in the 4th base of Scarlett. Going to get picked right back up. Just trying to buy a little bit of time here is ShoWTimE as he's continuing to power with the Mothership in production. Additional Templar being warped in. More Tempest being added into the mix. And he is setting up for a very stable macro game back at home. I think this Warp Prism might finally get gone with that shift rally point. But no, instead actually just going to be able to barely make it away. 23 HP is... You know, ShoWTimE just continues to power up. We have more gateways, 2nd Forge, air weapons coming in. All of the pieces of the Protoss puzzle for a long, protracted late game are getting added into the mix right now.
The storm and the stun is both working. So ShoWTimE has really built up a pretty fearsome army here. Zealot's going to come through over here. The Lings are going to try to get this surround off. Just too many Lings here for these Zealots to actually deal with. And, you know, with all this build-up here, we got the Mothership. This is kind of the last piece of the puzzle here for Protoss needs. We could have a game similar to what we saw before. You know, the roaming Deathbell army. Zerg trying to counterattack, but ultimately never really able to fight the force that Protoss has made.
Right, but because ShoWTimE opted to go for Tempest instead of carriers, it's going to be a much slower roll. You're just going to be trying to take down Lurkers, be trying to take down potentially Vipers or Corruptors. Really, any damage that you can get done with these Tempests at a distance is going to be huge. Nidus Network is going to get stunned, by the way, here, and Mothership fighting the Overseer there for just a moment, actually storming even. ShoWTimE just so confident. I mean, these Templar have so much energy that why not storm a couple of Lings? And now he's going to start laying siege to this 3 o'clock base.
So for now, I think Scarlett's gonna have to ditch the space again. By the way, she's been very good about that. She knows like when it's time to just like not fight for a base. But you know, there's not a lot of places for Scarlett to go. If you look on the map, like where can she actually expand to, right? Not here, obviously. The base at the top left isn't gonna work. By the way, I guess a Zealot and a Cannon perfectly deny the Nidus Worm. Learn something new every day. But yeah, it just feels like her position is very compressed. And like lurkers are hard to attack into. We see ShoWTimE backing off now, but you don't really care if the Zerg doesn't have any good bases. Like look at this position. This is a nightmare to try to mine from. This half gold, half blue mineral base.
Yeah, you can just kind of suffocate the Zerg player right now here as ShoWTimE. Keep Scarlett restrained to 4 bases. Do not allow a 5th. Do not allow a 6th. And as Mapu was pointing out, the resources are lost massively in the favor of ShoWTimE right now. Even with these Zealot counterattacks, I mean, that is a phenomenal kill-death ratio. This guy was playing Counter-Strike. He would be getting banned for hacking right now.
So, I mean, the Tempest, you know, they have the superiority of range here. So you can just, like, over time, just start to let that damage accumulate. The Nidus Network is actually going to pop out right in front of the Natural. This is an interesting move here. Oh my god, and so the Lurkers are going to be out. This is going to force, I think, a recall back home, if it's available.
Man, that Immortal, like, Neo in the Matrix is dodging so many Lurker shots. The 7x score is going to get taken out. I wonder if we're going to have a recall here from ShoWTimE to try and deal with this situation. Storm is going to weaken up these Hydras quite a bit. Once those Hydras fall, there isn't a lot of anti-air left here for Scarlett. And if that Nidus Worm gets taken out before those Lurkers can escape, it can be very dangerous. Scarlett is able to evacuate everything with those Adept Talons. And Lurkers, they really do unburrow in a hurry. But this is good for Scarlett. She's kind of able to get the pressure off of her back and is now being able to secure, you know, the expansion at the 11 o'clock, the one down closer to the left center of the map. These are bases that she needs if she wants to try and equalize this, because ShoWTimE has been able to amass such a bank.
Yeah, I mean, this gets cleaned up. That did get the heat off of Scarlett for a little bit. So she's like reached out on the map. She's taking more bases, but again, it's his Protoss death ball. Like, almost all the upgrades are done. We're getting Immortals and a Templar mixed in with the group. And is Scarlett going to push out again? Or, excuse me, is ShoWTimE going to push out again is what I meant to say.
Yeah, I feel like you probably want to right now as ShoWTimE. Scarlett hasn't shown anything that really can pick off the units that you've got in the air. But there is a little bit of uncertainty in terms of what Scarlett might have remaxed with. After losing those units, there might be a swell of Corruptors, there might be more Vipers out on the map. There aren't, but ShoWTimE doesn't know this, and so for now, he's just kind of playing conservatively back at home, getting additional upgrades, securing his position, adding in a ton of static defense. I think he doesn't want to find himself in a position again where he wants to get aggressive, and Scarlett is able to deploy Nidus Worm and just completely force him back. That's why we have almost double-digit photon cannons getting warped in a moment ago.
Okay, oh man, watching those Zealots run into those Lurkers was a little scary there. Another push in. The Lurkers, you know, they're not quite able to get away. They're not that fast off of creep here. More Lurkers down in the bottom right. ShoWTimE in a very defensive posture. I mean, Scarlett's basically shaken ShoWTimE off from the position that he had that was almost oppressive earlier on.
Yeah, but with not a lot of anti-air here for Scarlett, these Lurkers are going to have to retreat from that bottom right corner all the way back into the cluster of Zerg bases to the north. We're going to have a Nidus Worm, almost used like a Brood War Nidus Worm, just securing an expansion here.
Okay, so, you know, this push, it's getting pretty forceful. The Lurkers are not, it's kind of great seeing the Zealots run into this, but it's almost hard for me to tell how many Lurkers are here, by the way, to watch this fight.
It's tough.
Not the clearest thing to see here. But, you know, ShoWTimE's out on the map. He's still driving stuff away. He's going to push right back into that location that he denied earlier. Yeah, nice deny.
Part of the problem right now for Scarlett is that the 5th and the 6th base were so delayed. She was sitting on just 4 bases for such a long time that even though the mineral income is there, it was only 8 Vespene Geysers. She doesn't have a lot of gas in the bank, and so her options are kind of limited in terms of what she wants to do here. It's hard to make a transition into something like Corruptors and get the upgrades for those units. It's hard to make, you know, more than even just a handful of Vipers to try and start abducting these Tempests because the gas income has been so restrained. And so for now, it seems like the move that she is making is trying to move across the map in a couple of different positions, keep ShoWTimE on his half of Takamok so that she can get the gas bank that she needs to kind of be a little more flexible and start trading more effectively. But ShoWTimE is doing such a good job of roaming with these two separate armies. One in the top left, mostly a ground force, one in the bottom right, mostly an air force. And Scarlett is, again, kind of getting restrained. These armies, those Hydras taking a ton of damage from the Storm. They aren't very good at fighting what ShoWTimE has assembled. And the Remax is coming in, again, because the asset income is limited. It's just Hydras and upgrades right now for Scarlett.
So this push down here at the bottom, it's kind of crazy to see what a Mothership and Tempest can just do kind of on their own. I think in my head, I always feel like the Mothership has to be over the main army, but I guess not. But yeah, I mean, Scarlett, she still has some bases, particularly this one over here in the top left, but there's not a whole lot else to work with. I guess she is mining from that gold base. I thought it was kind of too difficult to actually have, but I don't see ShoWTimE punishing him for the time being. And now, also, we should point out ShoWTimE and Scarlett are both running out of places to take on the map. Like, this is kind of reminds me a little bit of those TVZs we used to cast back in the day, you know, where it would be like Maru split mapping it, and just the Zerg eventually runs out of resources on their side of the map.
Well, ShoWTimE is finally defeating all of the Protoss forces. Yeah, those Hydras getting caught. Scarlett, she's double expanding to the left side, but the entire Protoss armada is here. All 100 plus army supply is clustered in this top line, left quadrant of the map, because this is where Scarlett's mining bases are. ShoWTimE would love to take a couple more out. He is going to settle, at least for now, with that gold base. And then once more, start to separate. The Zealots and the Archons, they will be able to deny getting killed, in fact, on this top left expansion. Whereas the rest of the forces are coming down, and look at how much static defense we have here from ShoWTimE. I feel like I'm watching a Need game from 4 or 5 years ago.
This is kind of insane. Scarlett, I think, is going to lose this base at the top left, which,
if that Nidus goes down, Tasteless, these lurkers are probably going to die.
My God, they're just stuck here. They're completely surrounded.
Yeah, they have no way of getting out. We have double detection, the Observer and Revelation right now, but Corruptor is coming in a big swell. We do have Storms and Archons, though, getting so much damage done. The Mothership is going to go down, but nothing else. In fact, even the Mothership standing strong there in the end. And ShoWTimE in one fell swoop is able to cut the head off the dragon. All of the lurkers go down. The Corruptors just get obliterated by the Archons and the Storms. That was an epic PvZ.
I love seeing the lurkers just trapped there. It's like, oh, they're just going to be, it's like fish in a barrel here. There's no way to get out. They're surrounded by cannons and, of course, that Protoss army above them. So, great game. ShoWTimE wins game number 1. But let's not forget how that game started. That was a proxy hatchery, which doesn't block the Nexus. And yeah, I mean, normally what you do is you have the hatchery go inside the natural and you put it where the Nexus is supposed to be. And then it's annoying, the build order's kind of messed up. I don't see that move as much anymore, but maybe Scarlett's bringing out some kind of older ideas.
I think part of that might just be the fact that Scarlett, frankly, probably doesn't have as many hours in practice recently as everybody else in this group. And so one of the ways you can equalize here as Scarlett, especially being such a cerebral player, is to make the games very weird.
Yeah,
because that neutralizes the practice time quite a bit. The game becomes a lot more about instinct, but because the hatchery did not, in fact, block the Nexus, as Tasteless was able to point out immediately.
Which I knew the second I saw it. I went, nope. Hope State doesn't mess this cast up and guess about it.
Yeah, I mean, ShoWTimE was just able to roll with the punches. The hatchery got effectively nothing done, and ShoWTimE has one of the better late game PvZs in the world, frankly.
Yeah. Well, we're actually going onto map 2 here. That's going to be on the grid. And let's see if Scarlett can come back. It's going to be sad if she gets knocked out, but I mean, this is a pretty tough stacked group. So
this group is insanely stacked, actually. I mean, Reynor, Scarlett, ShoWTimE, and Classic is an incredible lineup.
And this is going to be with Scarlett in the top left and ShoWTimE in the top right. There's been an immediate probe sent out on the map.
And a 13 pool from Scarlett.
Yeah, Scarlett.
Cheesy.
A little bit of cheddar. So this is going to be spotted. And, well, hold on.
Are we going to have a drone come down and feign
the
hatchery?
you want to stay down there and try to block the hatch, but that means you don't know that the spawning pool is actually really, really early. And right now we have a gateway coming down here, gas. Excuse me. And, you know, with a gateway on the low ground like this, is there a way that you can punish this with a pool this fast?
I think you might be able to, especially with no gas here from Scarlett. I'm wondering if there's a possibility we have a drone pull with this one. Sometimes you'll see people do, for whatever reason, I can't remember what it's called, like, drone drilling on the wall.
Yeah, drone drilling, yeah.
Where you try to basically tell them to gather minerals, usually the natural expansion of the Protoss, so they all bunch up. Ooh, it's another hatchery. Tasteless, this one also does not block the Nexus.
I've got this. This one also doesn't block it, in case you're confused about that. So, I mean, at this point in time, when you see the hatchery here, you're like, oh, I'm getting cheesed right now. This isn't all in. The Lings are inbound. Scarlett with some really interesting moves here today. There's one Zealot being made. The probes, you can see, it's ShoWTimE kind of thinking in real time. He was damaging it, and then he's like, no, wait, I need to send this probe back to mine. The first Zealot, does that get out? Yeah, that's not going to get out before. Okay, so the Zealot, obviously, you can fight anything single file. I was going to say, he wants to kind of like move that out and then send it back.
Yeah, you just want to wait until that second Zealot comes out, because that makes the fight a lot easier here. We do have Morlings coming across map and a ton of shield batteries getting thrown down right now.
Did you hold this as Protoss?
I feel like you have to. I don't see...
This is wild. This is just stuff I don't get to cast every day.
This looks like all of my ladder games.
Yeah, no, this is definitely the ladder experience for sure. This
but
is
except if I would have lost my Zealot already by now.
You're like, watch GSL all the time. You're like, I can get to Masters one day. And you're like, well, I don't see them do this. I don't know how to stop this. The gateway's going to fall. The hatchery blocks it in such a way that the Zealots couldn't really get over there and defend it. And now it's all these spine crawlers coming down here. This is just a down and dirty way to play. But oh gosh, okay, so wait, there's no forge that's made, right?
Yeah,
so
there's no forge.
There's like not a lot that you can do to actually stop these spine crawlers, right?
Yeah, Scarlett's actually able to buy a lot of time with this little dance that she's doing with all these Zerglings. The hatchery isn't going down just yet.
Killing the hatchery would help a lot, by the way. If you don't forget, that's not just making creep, it's actually making it clean, and it is allowing for larvae to hatch out here.
I feel like this hatchery should have gone down. I think it's a little bit of maybe a misstep that it's able to survive here at 150 HP.
So the creep tumor's been thrown down here.
Yeah, that's going to be able to, you know, keep these spine crawlers alive once that hatchery eventually does fall. As finally these starters are able to take it down. Broodlings not going to get too much done, but keep in mind, energy, it is a resource on these shield batteries, and because there is no Nexus, despite the fact that the hatch block did not block the Nexus, you cannot energy recharge these shield batteries. The energy you see on them is what you get. It's why we have so many more batteries getting thrown down. And now this is kind of a logjam. This is a lot of Zerglings, Tasteless. There's only 2 pylons down here. I think we might have one more warping in on top. Yes, that is another pylon. But this is starting to look like it might work for Scarlett. The batteries are very low on energy.
Yeah.
We have I don't think we have any production up for ShoWTimE.
Yeah, I think Scarlett wins.
This is a wild game.
This is just, I've never cast this interaction before.
Immortal starting in production.
Okay, now the Immortal actually could make this work.
Yeah, the Immortal can turn the tide very easily.
Well,
Scarlett is expanding.
Oh, yeah.
I think probably just for the larva, frankly. I don't think she wants to have a clean injector back in
I think she has the money for the hatchery. Might as well put it down there. But was that an overextension?
He's able to work his way all the way back, and also that extra shield battery just kind of creating another choke point here is very good.
The Immortal can run out and gun down the spine crawler and then run back and still be healed.
Yeah, I think ShoWTimE might just barely be doing this. The shield battery, not the shield battery, the War Prism, once it is done, is going to add so much micro potential here. The Immortal now is trying to get in range. Scarlett knows she basically has to try and shoo that away, but you can't really do very much about it with just Lings.
The Immortal does not have to respect the spine crawler at all. And when that last spine goes down, I mean, this is just like a pretty straightforward game. You no longer have this like extra damage, but he actually targets clean. Clean ends up getting away. This is a hell of a game, man. So now I think you get the Warp Prism, and then you send the Immortal out, right?
I think you just go kill him. Yeah, you just move cross map and try and bust, because I don't know. I mean, ShoWTimE is building an observer right now, so we can clean up this creep. But if I'm playing this game, I'm like, all right, let's just. I don't want to expand and have this go into a macro game. I want to go next as soon as possible. And I think ShoWTimE feels the same way. He's adding in 2 more gateways. The Warp Prism makes this so difficult for slowlings especially to try and get damage done.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
You can just never confirm the kill.
I kind of forgot they're actually slowlings too, you're right. So, I mean, it's hard to quantify how behind Scarlett is. That being said, it's not like Protoss got their expansion up, but Protoss has like, you know, I think all the tools necessary in the kit to basically go in here with a win.
I think this is going to be 4 gateways. We have 2 more in production.
Yeah, and so I like that. Initially, I thought, oh, you want to try to expand now, and it's like, no, you just go kill him.
He is expanding though.
Oh, he is going to expand. Okay, never mind.
It's just 4 units in the prism. I was right there with you. I was thinking that, oh well, we just move cross map and kill him. But this has been such a weird game that ShoWTimE probably doesn't know exactly where he stands relative to his opponent.
Yeah, a lot of times there's like a very clear way to play the game that's optimal, but I think this is probably kind of feeling through the dark a little bit. So, I mean, it does a little bit of damage. The Nexus is halfway done. Link speed has just started to give you an idea of how far away, you know, Scarlett is from being viable in fights.
It's a lot of droning.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind just seeing the second Immortal. Okay, never mind. We're just going to push. I was going to say, just get 2 Immortals, send the Warp Prism out, send all the stuff you have that can fight, and just like take a fight on the map.
Yeah, I think this should probably just be it. Zerling's speed is only about 1/3 of the way done. Roachborn just now starting. We have 3 Queens down here in the natural expansion and maybe a dozen Lings against a pretty considerable army here for ShoWTimE. He's actually going to shovel his way into the main base. Oh,
that was
year
so
is
good.
it?
That was so sick. Now he can just bury the rest of his army in here and just keep force fielding this. This is going to be a win with style. I absolutely love this. So you can just force field this forever.
Yeah, I feel like ShoWTimE, if he just went into the natural expansion, could have ended the game outright. But this is a dirty way to close out a dirty game. So I like this.
Great series, man. I think Scarlett's going to have to tap out. The main base is going to be completely wiped. Yeah, GG, there it is. ShoWTimE defeats Scarlett 2-0.
So Scarlett could be the first player eliminated from Group D here, but I will say she made for some really fun games. I love what she brought to the group. There were some really creative ideas at play. It's been fun, man. She made this group way better.
That was fun. That last game was very cool. I have never quite cast a game like that. It's an interesting cheese. Definitely learned a lot there. So ShoWTimE's now going to go up against Reynor here.
Yeah, and I feel like that is a series that absolutely has the potential to go very, very long. I mean, ShoWTimE, he loves to play the late game macro game like we've seen in the past, like he did versus Scarlett in that game #1. And Reynor is not really afraid of going to it if he absolutely must do it. So I think it absolutely is a possibility that this one is going to be a marathon of a match.
Mom, I need the last 3 numbers on the back of the credit card. I got to sign up for the Patreon. Guys, consider going and supporting us. Those are not all the tiers, by the way. It's not just 5 or 25 or 100. There's a bunch of tiers in between. Whatever you think you can give, we would be over the moon if you can support us in our endeavor to keep competitive StarCraft alive, active, and with a kind of professional broadcast.
The kind of broadcast that, frankly, StarCraft II of this high level deserves.
Yeah. Well, we can streamline the production. You know, we got this cool set that we've built, but you know, also just having a cool intro, everything like that. Consider signing up for the Patreon. Patreon.com/Revive SC2, and we're gonna go to a little break here. When we come back, it's gonna be the final match of the evening. Welcome back, everybody. It's time to close out Group D here. We only have ShoWTimE and Reynor left over. One is going to get eliminated, and the other is going to be moving on.
Yeah, it's been a long journey here in the round of 16 to decide the 8 players that will be going to that double elimination playoff bracket. And a group as stacked as this one, it's kind of a shame that only 2 players can make it, but that is the way that it's going to be. And Reynor versus ShoWTimE feels like a headliner match to close it out.
I mean, this has been, it's been honestly a great day of games here. Scarlett showed some awesome plays, but, you know, ShoWTimE kind of won with style, stopping that cheese and then doing. That's one of my favorite closers is the force field on the ramp.
I love it so much.
I remember the first time I saw that, and I was like, it's so sick. Like,
yeah, MC was the king of that.
Yeah. I think the first person I ever saw did it might have been Grubby. I remember just casting some tournament, and like when I saw that happen, I was like, of course. Like I'm always thinking of force fielding, stopping stuff from coming up into your own main, but you can do it there.
Similarly, when the Ravager came out and they showcased it breaking force fields, like I started crying. I was like, no, my era's over.
Anyways, we got this match coming up, and it's gonna be pretty hype. ShoWTimE looks really good today. Like he looks even better, and I think he's a great player. I think he's very strong, but he looked really good. So
I feel like Reynor almost always has a little bit of an edge over ShoWTimE, but ShoWTimE is 100% capable of winning a series like this one to advance.
Well, we saw this with Hearthstone the other day too, but like players, a lot of the Protosses right now, they're going for a long game. They're not doing any kind of like 2-base cheese or some kind of timing push. They're like trying to get up to 4 or 5 bases and eventually get into like air tech, get carriers, get Tempest, get a mothership. And we'll see if that's going to happen this time around. Reynor also seemed to be pretty comfortable going into late game. But you never know. I mean, Zergs always can just pull the trigger and try to do something crazy.
Yeah, and ShoWTimE and Reynor have a long history of trying to qualify for stuff against each other, like this one too. I think it was, I believe, the qualifying match, or one of the qualifying matches of the EWC European qualifiers. I got to cast that with Ronnie, I believe, Reynor versus ShoWTimE. And I mean, these guys just go neck and neck. Like every series like that is always so close. And ShoWTimE, frankly, has a ton of tricks up his sleeve if he decides he wants to deploy them here against Reynor. So this is going to be a fantastic series. I can already tell as we have Reynor spawning in the bottom left, ShoWTimE in the top left of Persephone. I am so eager to get this one started. I really want to see some epic macro games between these two.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm super hyped for this. These are 2 European powerhouses, and I'm going to be happy with either one moving on here. So to start this off, we have the scouting probe going all the way across the map, and I don't know if this is happening on your end. Okay,
we're back.
We're back. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Yeah, our monitors died for a moment there, but we're chilling again. We're chilling.
I don't know if the people at home saw that, but yeah, that was a weird moment. So yeah, you have one probe that went across the map here to block the hatchery. So Reynor's going to make his 3rd hatchery. Where the 3rd base would normally be, or 2nd hatchery where the 3rd base would be.
Yeah, all the way down in the 6 o'clock position, and I don't think Reynor's going to mind this too much. Now, I feel like we're probably going to get very standard early games from Reynor here versus ShoWTimE. I don't think he's going to be trying any of the shenanigans that, say, Scarlett did with proxy hatches or early pools. And that means that ShoWTimE really gets to execute the early game and mid-game plan that he likes to. And ShoWTimE has one of my favorite early and mid games of literally any Protoss player. I hope he does the same style today because I nerd out about it every time I get to see it. He has this sacrificial style of Adepts where he just continuously turns them out of the gateways and is not afraid. I think it's like every single game versus Reynor, he will send 2 Adepts in and just try and get the best trade possible. And Reynor sees it coming, and sometimes, always, ShoWTimE is still able to get some damage done. Like, it is so cool. These guys, man, I saw this group and I was so excited for ShoWTimE versus Reynor because their series are always such bangers. I want to see what ShoWTimE's gonna do here.
Yeah, let's get this core finished up here, and then I'm guessing it's gonna be the Stargate. ShoWTimE has really not deviated that much from this. Some Protoss players, they're really crazy and unpredictable, but I feel like ShoWTimE is in more of like I guess what category we could put like stats or Rain. Back when Rain was playing, he's conservative. He likes to build up his economy and develop. And so we've got that Stargate started here. Ling speed has begun as well. And yeah, unless Reynor decides to do something kind of crazy or all-in-ish, I'm expecting this to be a bit of a slow game.
Yeah, even a pylon block coming down here in the natural expansion, trying to delay that hatchery. Of course, it will get canceled. I think the Adept not going to get there fast enough to stop that drone from throwing down the hatchery. And ShoWTimE already churning out that third Adept. So usually with the first one, he might allow that to finish, but no, in fact, we'll just wait for it to pair up. ShoWTimE loves to double up with these Adepts, and then the next shade, it almost always is completed. He loves to do it when he runs into the natural expansion. We'll shade usually into the main base, and then just, pick whatever the best fight is. It's kind of surprising because usually in Korea you see the glaive, or not the glaive adept, the shade adepts come in and they wouldn't finish in a situation like this one, but ShoWTimE basically always will, and he is so good at getting damage done. There was one volley that did connect with the queen, but as ShoWTimE here, you're forcing all of these Lings out of Reynor and you're getting 3 drones. Yeah, it cost you 2 early adepts, but it's not that bad a start, and behind it, he's continuously building additional adepts here at the natural expansion. So he's soon gonna have 2 more. The second Oracle will, or even the first Oracle, will be able to secure this third base for ShoWTimE, and it's so much fun just watching him be able to execute these kind of plans.
It's you nailed that one, by the way. The 2 adepts that he would absolutely commit to it, and he ends up killing 3 drones. Almost everybody cancels.
Yeah, he's very stylistic. I love it so much.
Well, but you could see he's good at it. He's actually getting value there, and does have enough to hold off the counterattack, which is what I was wondering when I saw that go in there. Is I thought, well, can you actually keep this? But I guess what he does is he just stays conservative with one of the oracles. As long as the oracle's not on the other side of the map, you're never going to get in here with Lings. So we got the Twilight Council started now. The Nexus is about halfway done. And I'm assuming we're just going to see Blink. We're going to see, more development, a couple more gateways come down here.
Yeah, from here, ShoWTimE can really do anything. Occasionally you will see, especially in a longer series like a best of 5 or a best of 7, he likes to mix in the Oracle Phoenix Oracle queue up from the Stargate just to really have an element of surprise. And there's a variety of builds that he has lined up where the Zerg sees the same third base timing, sees the Oracle and the Phoenix and the second Oracle. The Phoenix kills the Scouting Overlords, and everything looks the same, but there's like 4 or 5 different deviations they can go through. In this game, that is not going to be the case. He goes for the second Oracle. He's kind of roaming around the map with these groups of Adepts, trying to find some damage, but back at home, it is completely standard development. We have Blink, we have +1 ground weapons, probably some additional gateways will be added in as he gets to continue to work towards adding in those Templar archives. And Reynor, back on his side of the map, also just developing normally, taking that 4th base in the bottom right, going up to lair.
Yeah. So we've got some of these Adepts coming out here in control. The Creep Tumors just try to keep the Zerg a little bit more up against the ropes here. This is a very big map. There's a lot of turf that Reynor can pave with Creep if he can get the spread out. And this is one way that you can be a little bit active on the map with what you've got while still basically focusing on development.
It's kind of interesting, actually, that ShoWTimE has not taken these additional geysers or gone for the Templar Archives until now. He actually went for a lot of Stalker Warpins.
Yeah,
so.
I think he wants to basically lean on the Zerg. By the way, we talked about this on another map, or another series, excuse me, but the bottom right base of this map is so far away, it's almost worth just like trying to attack through the bases. It's just hard to get over there. But this is a pretty good move. I mean, he's got a lot of Stalkers. He's going to lay some of these traps here to try to stun the Lings. I like this, personally. I mean, there's an Evo chamber right here. You see these Wallens, a lot of that vital tech is kind of the Achilles heel in a push like this.
Yeah, and being able to also just reset the creep spread, force additional units out of Reynor that are not drones. The moment where he would love to be 80+. Oh, that stasis trap just caught so many Zerglings. That's basically a force field right now. I mean, that mitigates the surface area these Lings can get on the Stalkers, on the Adepts so much. Range weapons here for Reynor. It's about 75% complete. These Lings are going to be unlocked in just a moment here from this stasis, but those Oracles still with a ton of energy.
Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and set off another one. These Queens are getting pretty low on HP too. I think there's maybe 1 transfuse available. Ground weapons level 1 about to finish here as the blinking back is just doing so much extra damage here.
Yeah, behind this, ShoWTimE is macroing without missing a beat. We have Storm about a third of the way done, Templar warping in, +2 ground weapons immediately queued up, additional gateways, the Robo, all of the pieces of the puzzle for Protoss on the ground, plus that 4th base, are coming online.
Yeah, he actually just went by that drone. I don't know if he noticed it, but it's going to be another gold base being taken here. These drones are being evacuated. Yeah, he must have just missed that. Because that would just be such a nice little catch to kill that guy off. So yeah, the 4th base is up right now. Reynor's at 160 supply. He's got a lot more roaches. He's got a lot more stuff he can fight with. But, you know, ShoWTimE with a 4th Nexus, I mean, I think he could have a pretty strong push. I guess the big looming question we got to ask ourselves is that gold base going to get spotted or not? Because, you know, if you don't know that the gold base is taken, you're in a completely different mindset.
Yeah, I feel like it should get spotted. The bottom right base is so hard to hit with the main army, but because of the speed zones on the east side of this map, a lot of times you'll see Protoss players go for like a round of Zealots warped in, and then they will just shift queue them all the way from the top right corner down through the speed zones to the bottom right. And so if ShoWTimE does go for a play like that, of course he is going to run in to that gold base, but for now it seems like he is much happier to spend his minerals not on Zealots for counterattacks, but instead on shield batteries, on photon cannons, trying to set up for the big queen walk with Roach Ravager that Reynor is about to push in with.
Yeah, this timing is going to hit so hard. It's quite a long travel distance, but if you can get up over here and hit this 3rd base, you'll have access to the natural. You'll be able to go down to that 4th base and wipe that out there as well. So it's all going to come down to whether or not there is enough here for ShoWTimE to hold out this max army attack here from Reynor.
Oh, big storm right there, able to catch a lot of these Ravagers. They are going to get healed up. Oh, man! The Queen's in a little bit of body blocking right now by the Queens. The Ravagers! Oh, they're getting trapped. The Storm's doing so much damage. Simultaneously, Reynor, he is attacking the 4th base right now of ShoWTimE. But this Queen Walk, it was not a push that was supposed to get repelled that easily. Now with the recall coming into this 4th base, actually maybe not enough Stalkers here for ShoWTimE. Maybe was hoping to catch a little bit more Stalkers with that recall. These Roaches going to get a very favorable trade.
And, I mean, Reynor is still maxed out, by the way, guys. There's going to have to be a lot more stuff hatching, and it's going to hit again. ShoWTimE right now floating at about 132 supply. And, I mean, the gold base is kicking in. It's going to be more Roaches and Ravagers. It's going to be round 2 of this huge attack up here. And a lot of the sophistication from the Protoss army is gone. Oh, does that actually kill that? Yeah. No more cannons powered over there.
That Stasis Trap catching a lot of these key units here for Reynor, but the Roach is actually doing a good job of also blocking in the arc here for ShoWTimE. You can see with those files raining down, it's kind of an awkward position to attack into as finally he is going to go. Finally, the Ravagers are unlocked from the Stasis Trap as Reynor is trying to break down the natural and the 3rd base at the same time. The army just a little bit disjointed with the Archons now reinforcing and some good storm from ShoWTimE. He's able to gain momentum, but this arc might just be a little bit too big, Tasteless.
There's so many more Lings coming up here and more Roaches. If he gets that cybernetic score too, yeah, he takes that out. So no more Stalkers warped in. The ones that just got in are the last ones that are going to be here for a little bit. Reynor is going to regroup, I think, momentarily, but yeah, I mean, he's maxed out again. If he can just get to the tipping point here in this fight, I think ShoWTimE's going to be out.
Yeah, the initial engagement was so good for ShoWTimE, but Reynor remaxing so quickly. A lot of that because this gold base is propelling his economy forward, even on 77 drones. I'm liking Reynor's position. He's continuing to put pressure on here at the 3rd base and the natural expansion. These biles very hard to dodge when Reynor scatters them out like that. Another storm kind of just zoning away the Zerg army as ShoWTimE pushes forward again.
And, you know, it just doesn't seem like ShoWTimE's going to have enough. Reynor has the ability to just remake over and over. He's got deep pockets too, 1.8k minerals, 500 gas. And there's just not that much that's keeping either the natural or the 3rd base alive. We're seeing the HP get lower and lower here. The last few Stalkers are falling. I think we're moments away from GG.
Yeah, that is it. GG called. Reynor makes that push work right at the junction between the natural expansion and the 3rd base. Very well executed. I thought that ShoWTimE had nailed the defense the moment that he caught all of those Ravagers with no support units, with the storms raining down on them, especially because of the body blocking of the Queens. But somehow, some way, Reynor had just enough economy behind that to send a second wave that was just able to break his back. And almost a war of attrition. It took like 2 minutes for ShoWTimE to finally bleed out there, but in the end, Reynor was able to take game 1.
Yeah, it's funny because like you're watching ShoWTimE in the fight, you're like, oh, he's kind of hanging on, and then it's like, oh, like Reynor just lost everything that he had and is maxed out again.
Yeah.
And ShoWTimE's at 132 supply. Like there's a lot more of this coming. And you know, Psystorm, shield batteries, that'll all let you hang on for a while, but then eventually you have no more mana in the batteries or in the Templars. You know, the shields are all wearing off on what you've got over there. You can only blink Stalkers so many times, and eventually Reynor just snowballs that into a victory.
Yeah, and the concave, especially attacking in on Persephone with between the natural and the third base, it is really hard for ShoWTimE when you have most of your Stalkers just kind of quartered off at that triangle third, because suddenly it's the attacker who has the advantage of the terrain. And so ShoWTimE just kind of got a little bit split up there. It was hard to make that engagement work, and a lot of it is just because of the economic power of Reynor with that gold base, but also the
We're back. Our OBS just crashed on our streaming PC, so we had to do a quick restart. The game's been paused. Don't worry. We're running this on a 3-minute delay. Our Mapu, our observer. So we should be back into this game in a little bit here, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, and I mean, it's first week jitters. You know, we're still figuring everything out here with the new studio. And
yeah, well, we had the audio issues on day one, but yeah, that's the first time. Every once in a while, my OBS crashes on my personal stream. It's rare, but every once in a while. So I don't know why that happened. Sorry about that, but we didn't really miss much. We basically had the game paused immediately. So yeah, just stand by, guys. We're waiting for. Yeah, we'll be in the game soon.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 minutes until then. For the glimpses I had of the game before OBS decided to stop working for us, things were looking kind of hectic. It seems like Reynor was going for some kind of proxy hatch play, and so I think this game is probably not going to be necessarily what a lot of people were expecting going into a game number 2 between Reynor and ShoWTimE. It's certainly not what I expected, where I was kind of thinking that, you know, heading into this when I was preparing myself mentally for kind of a long, epic, drawn-out series where in game number 1, Reynor brought out the Queen Walk with the Roaches and Ravagers, and then in game number 2, it seemed like he had gone for that proxy hatch, so I'm eager. I'm eager to see exactly what he has cooked up once we get back into it.
Yeah, I'm excited. So once we have Mapu unpausing the game, we had the crash, and then we're like, okay, well, we need to tell the observer to stop.
Yeah.
Pause the game, and then we had to go over there and be like, okay, so what do we do? I guess we just try restarting. I don't know why OBS crashed. And then now we're waiting for, do we have any updates on that? Is he going to be good to go in a second? Okay, so probably about 30 more seconds. Okay,
Yeah.
and then we'll be back in this game, so.
Yeah,
We appreciate your patience.
There's a little bit of a delay because, of course, our 3-minute delay is coming from the observer. So
Right.
It's almost like a game of telephone where it's like, okay, we got to tell them to pause.
Right.
3 minutes into the future, and then hopefully we'll be back in this map in
I
just
think
a
we're
moment.
basically about to be back in this game. So what you missed is that there's is it a proxy hatchery?
All right, it seems like, there was a proxy hatchery. We're going to be back on the map in just a moment. The players are saying that they are ready.
So ShoWTimE is going to have to be holding this.
Yeah, let's jump back into this one. This is looking like a pretty crazy situation. Mapu with a countdown. A game is unpaused as the Banelings are coming up the ramp. What a moment to come back to as the Lings are going to flood into the main base mineral line. Oracle instantly gets energy recharge. Right now, ShoWTimE, he's trying to stutter step with these probes. He mineral walks them into the corner, getting a really nice surround actually on those Lings. But now the Banelings are coming back. Oh, so many probes just died tasteless.
This is insane. There's one queen like, I'm getting out of here. We got more reinforcements coming up. Lings are going to be wrapping around. Right now, it's 8 probes to 21 drones.
Dude, that one Baneling, I think, wiped out basically the entire mineral line. ShoWTimE with the mineral walking did such a good job of basically keeping all the probes alive, but in the red, and now the Lings coming back.
And the Lings are the probes are so low on HP. He's going to get, I think, almost every single one. It's down to 6 workers right now.
Oh, he's starting a game in Wings of Liberty.
GG!
GG! Wow, we went through that one in a hurry.
Woo!
Dude,
That's what I'm talking about.
of all the moments.
OBS crashes and then we come back to, it's like, I didn't even know those mains were there. I'm like, oh, this is insane.
Dude, it's like a roller coaster ride where like we're slowly, like we're ticking our way up to the top, and then there's like 3 loops on the way back down.
That was, okay, well, there you go.
What an adrenaline rush of a way to wrap that.
All right, well, guys.
That's Group D. Yeah.
Reynor moves on. ShoWTimE's out.
Yeah. A little bit. It's like anticlimactic, but is also the opposite of anticlimactic because that was the most insane thing to come back to from a break.
When I looked at the mini-map, because I was over there like trying to help with the OBS situation, I like didn't fully appreciate how close that was to just ending. Anyways, guys, here are our results. We have Cure, Byun, Hero Clem, Cham, Shin, and Classic Reynor surviving.
Yeah, so
the RSL.
3 Terrans, 2 Protoss, and 3 Zerg. I mean, anytime we get like 3-3-2 in the top 8, that is just perfect racial balance. So, yeah, I'm really pleased with these groups. We had some kind of surprising results as well. Like, Percival had a pretty good showing there. And Group A was actually able to win one of those series against 3 standout players. Cham exploded, became a superhero in Group C, just putting on a ZVZ clinic versus Shin and Solar. And now Classic and Reynor advancing here in Group D. I think definitely the favorites to advance from this group, but altogether, it's been a fantastic week of StarCraft. I am so excited to go to the playoff bracket in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Guys, here is the RSL Season 1 schedule. We're going to have some time off. Home Story Cup is just around the corner. But when we come back, it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then, of course, the next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This has been a lot of fun for us, putting this set together, this tournament together, and getting the support from you guys has just been incredible. So, you know, we'll be gone for a little bit, but when we come back, it's going to be a lot of RSL back-to-back, and you do not want to miss it.
Yeah, and of course, we have an official broadcast partner here for Season 1. Archon Studio, the team producing the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game. Pre-orders are going to be available later this year. And in the meantime, you know, drop on by Archon Studios, check their other products out. They have a lot of really high-quality miniature items. And, you know, for me, I've said this earlier on in the week, at the risk of being redundant, I have so many friends that are really big into tabletop miniature games. I've known them, frankly, since the beginning of StarCraft II. And so the fact that we are now finally getting an officially licensed StarCraft tabletop miniature game, it's so cool. I think it's probably going to be, you know, beyond a doubt, my first tabletop miniature game. I'm pretty excited to try it out.
I'm so excited to get this when this comes out. So definitely check that out. Because of their support, we were able to double the prize pool.
Yeah.
Guys, be a part of RSL. Sign up for our Patreon. This is the future, and it doesn't have to be a bleak future, by the way, for StarCraft II. With the support from the community, we can continue to produce high-end tournaments like RSL. We're hoping if we can even raise more money, we want to do something in a large studio with an audience where you could even come down and see the games live. But we decided we're going to try to scale up, right? It's going to be all about sustainability. So with the initial support, we've built this set. We're getting the show produced. And, you know, obviously we've had some great games so far. So if you haven't already and you need that extra nudge, just consider getting on Patreon and supporting us. It would mean the world. We have tiers. It's not just 5, 25, 100. There's tiers for all over the place for whatever you can give. If you're a Patreon supporter, you get 20% off on all Tasteless TV merch and RSL merch on my merch site, tastelessthreads.com. We've got hoodies. We've got mugs. Yes, yes, yes. We have T-shirts, too.
And the pins.
And the pins.
Who can forget the pins?
If you're a rock and roller, if you got your cool jacket, you got your little rock and roller pins on there.
Put that with your leather jacket,
going like that with your pins on. We just started kissing.
Dude, it was
the tension was building for so long.
It was a fantastic week of games,
yes,
honestly.
It was great.
I'm really happy with the top 8 lineup that we've got. Yeah, just great day, man.
Do we have any other slides? Is that everything? Breaking the fourth wall here. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, consider signing up for the Patreon. We're going to have about, I think, 10 days off. But when we come back, we'll be continuing on here with the RSL. We love you. Bye-bye.